sit down and organize the information given by Yuo. First, enders will eventually become heavenly kings. Moreover, in the Buddhist family, enders who have become heavenly kings are referred to as the seven brilliances kings and are used as a target point for cultivation. According to T. Yoljian's explanation, the seven brilliances kings are actually bodhisattvas who personify human emotions. Emotions, the study of the heart. I suddenly think of immortal arts. Are enders some beings related to the essence of immortal arts? Why exactly have we fallen into this world? And why are we meant to return to the head realm? Why have each of us been granted a peculiar ability? Thinking about this won't give me any answers. In any case, enders are heavenly kings. And since heavenly kings are related to emotions, we too might be connected to this thing called emotions. That's all that's been revealed so far. I organize more information. Obsidian was an ender, and he too met a tragic end. During the story of Obsidian, I recall the story about the snake. At Salt Mountain, it was made sure so a snake couldn't enter that world, and the owner of names stepped forward to make a promise. Hyun Eum, that is, Blood Yin, said the black snake was ominous and forbade the use of related symbols. Even in Obsidian's story, a snake happened to bite and kill his wife. What exactly is the snake? I look at Hong Fan for a moment and ask, Hong Fan, do you have any thoughts when I mention snake? Since there had been many incidents related to snakes around Hong Fan, it's natural for me to ask him. Hong Fan seemed to stroke his beard and then says, a snake, you say? Snake? I'm not sure, but traditionally, snakes have often been used as symbols of wisdom. Wisdom, that's true. Patience and wisdom. Rebirth and good fortune are what snakes symbolize. In some places, they are considered ominous, but surprisingly, the snake is actually seen as a good omen. Then, what do you think about legends where the characters suffer misfortune because of a snake? Is that also related to wisdom? I believe a snake is, in a sense, a type of poison. Poison? Yes. In reality, there's no such thing as poison in this world. It's just that some substances do not suit certain living beings while they do suit others. Moreover, many living beings take substances unsuitable for themselves, dilute them, and use them as medicine. In short, the distinction between poison and medicine is determined only by the dosage, whether it is excessive or not. There is no such thing as a true poison. His explanation continues. Since Hong Fan has surpassed me in the matter of poison, his words make quite a bit of sense. I too had used poison at one point, so I understand his explanation well. Isn't wisdom the same? An appropriate level of wisdom benefits a being, but excessive wisdom always turns into a remedy worse than poison. It drives one mad to the point where their head might explode too. That's exactly right. The snake symbolizes wisdom. Therefore, if a character in a myth suffers misfortune due to a snake, it might be a metaphor for peeking into a wisdom beyond their capacity, leading them to receive retribution because they couldn't handle it. I see. I find Hong Fan's explanation quite credible. The moment a being perceives the name or essence of a true immortal, they are inevitably shocked. Yuo said this happens because they are receiving wisdom by facing a being higher than themselves. If it's a being that can handle the wisdom they receive, they remain unaffected, but those who are too fragile to bear it end up bursting and dying. And in the world of Salt Mountain, where there is a myth about preventing snakes from entering, even uttering the name of a governing immortal level being wasn't a problem. Combining the words of Hong Fan and Yuo, the phrase preventing snakes from entering coincides with blocking the wisdom of a being who has reached the plane of fate from reaching. Since Hong Fan's explanation naturally connects the events in the world of Salt Mountain with what Yuo said, I nod. Certainly, there is truth in what you said. After nodding, I step outside the cave and climb to a spot on a glass mountain, where I sit in a lotus position. Hong Fan follows, checking if I need anything. Is your body truly fine now, Master? Yes. In fact, too much power of death has accumulated in my soul, so I'm trying to solve that. Fortunately, I received a formula from a sacred master to dispel the death aura. I tell Hong Fan about the formula I received from Yuo. With Hong Fan's help, I should be able to dispel the power of death more effectively. If it's a genius like him, he would likely catch any subtle tricks she might have tried to pull that I hadn't noticed. After hearing the formula I got from Yuo, Hong Fan nods calmly. It seems like a very good formula. For now, it doesn't appear harmful to Master. It will help ensure Master isn't suddenly dragged to the underworld. Oh, is that what you think? Yes, the formula for the Teiji and 3 ultimates is especially useful for living beings. It doesn't turn into a death formula by combining the two. At least for this formula, there doesn't seem to be any trap, so it might be worth practicing. Alright, thank you for your opinion. It's only natural. Then, since Master needs to examine the formula, I'll step away for a bit. Hong Fan bows to me, and then goes down the glass mountain. I watch the back of his head for a moment. His black hair has increased. Is it because he has reached the integration stage? Hong Fan looks a bit younger. He now looks like an old man in his late 60s. If he reaches the star-shattering stage, it'll be early 60s. At the sacred vessel stage, late 50s. At the entering nirvana stage, early 50s. When he becomes a true immortal, will he look to be in his 40s? From true immortal and above, the human form no longer holds much meaning, so I don't know, but I suddenly wonder how much younger Hong Fan will get. It's quite intriguing. It seems he had a special past life. When he reaches the limit of how young he can get, will he receive memories of his past life? If that happens, will Hong Fan still be the same Hong Fan I know? Enough, let's stop the useless thoughts. When Teiji unites, the 3 ultimates will circulate. I shake my head as I think about the formula. Teiji and 3 ultimates. Something immediately comes to mind. Wowung. I send my incarnation into the sky. The incarnation quickly pierces through the sky and reaches outer space. Kagagugu. Void shattering. Heaven path method. Earth path method. Now they have all risen to the same realm. Weaving. Colorless sword mountain treading sea great star. From the first star, the heavenly rain great star, attraction force converges towards me. The realm of void shattering. The power of a star on the plane of soul intertwines with the power of a star on the plane of chi. Simultaneously, the attraction force of fate draws a circle behind me. Payet. The 3 great ultimates rotate, and an immense power starts to boil within the incarnation. Incredible. I stick out my tongue, savoring the unprecedented, colossal energy that begins to amplify within me. Dojujujujudo. Power itself boils over, shaking the entire surrounding cosmic space. What level of power is this? I recall the star-shattering, esteemed ones I have met so far. In the case of Jang Ik, he seems to have a hidden move, so I've ruled him out from the beginning. As for the esteemed ones of the Blood Yin realm, for those like Sui Ryong or Jiuchen, with this level of power, I could beat them to death 1 against 2. Of course, this is the minimum estimate. I still don't quite know how strong I've become, so I'm just roughly gauging it. Moreover, all of this is under the assumption of simply beating them down with raw strength, without using martial techniques. If I add martial techniques along with spells and immortal arts, and with the 7 artificial stars of the Mad Lord, I nod my head. It seems I won't lose even against the Blood Yin realm, 7 great esteemed ones of an era. Kagagugu. I observe the overflowing power and frown. Being able to face the 7 great esteemed ones aside, there's still no particular response from the death energy. Even when I rotate the 3 great ultimates, I don't feel any particular effect on the death energy, and I frown. Nothing has changed. When Teiji unites, 3 ultimates circulate. I stop rotating the 3 great ultimates and ponder what Yuo meant by Teiji. Thinking about it in the simplest terms, it's water and fire, yin and yang, pairs of things that stand in complete opposition. Since Yuo is the sacred master of the nether ghost realm, from her perspective, what would stand in complete opposition? I ponder for a moment then, to think from Yuo's point of view. I activate crystal glass to treading sea. Crystal glass to treading sea. Twin flowers reaching the heavens. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Whoosh! A glass-colored flame rises in both of my hands. One side has a dark, obsidian-like light, and the other has a pure white, quartz-like light. All the methods I have learned so far have now merged into crystal glass to treading sea. The white orchid blessing incantation and yin soul ghost incantation have also merged into crystal glass to treading sea, taking their place within me. The innate true method, crystal glass to treading sea, is based fundamentally on the fire known as glass true fire. It is a flame that burns based on my memories of suffering, and anyone touched by the glass true fire experiences a part of the pain I've endured, without exception. At the same time, those touched by the glass true fire start losing their cultivation to it as they experience this pain. Of course, if they can maintain their sanity in the midst of pain and accept the suffering, it's possible not to lose their cultivation, but that's impossible for most beings. This is the result of combining the characteristics of the Yin Soul Ghost Incantation and Great Desert to Dead Sea. Moreover, whatever enters the flames of pain is completely melted down, adding to the glass true fire, making crystal glass to treading sea even stronger. The glass true fire of crystal glass to treading sea looks like a flame, but it also possesses the properties of glass, solidifying into glass when it cools. Specifically, it is the process where the painful memories burning at the plane of soul, and my clear mind deeper within, descends to the plane of chi as it cools, turning into glass. In any case, this glass true fire ultimately encapsulates my mind. Thus, by infusing my memories and mind, it could, in theory, manifest everything I've experienced. Hwarururuk. Curses and blessings. The spirits of yin and yang are contained within the glass true fire in both hands. They resemble a black flower and a white flower. I activate twin flowers reaching the heavens, trying to embody the same state as UO by activating nether perception. Payet. As soon as I activate nether perception, I can feel an immense world of death beckoning me. Don't be careless, one wrong move and I'll be sucked right in. I struggle not to be sucked into the world of death with all my might, observing the curses and blessings in my hands from the outskirts of the netherworld. Curses and blessings, from the vision of nether perception, both are colorless. There's no distinction between the two, so what difference would uniting them make? I merge the two glass true fires into one. From the vision of nether perception, it's just two colorless flames merging into one. It's just colorless with no change, huh? My eyes suddenly widen as I stare at the glass true fire. The colorless flame, formed by the union of yin and yang's curses and blessings, is pulling the death energy within me. The colorless Chinese letter pulls in the black Chinese letter, drawing the Taiji Chinese letter. When Taiji unites, the three ultimates circulate. I turn off nether perception and look at the phenomenon unfolding before my eyes in reality. Yin soul flower and white orchid flower. Within the glass true fire, where the two flames are mixed, a dark power of death burns alongside them. Chia. However, the union of the three energies doesn't last long. The energy of blessings and curses fades, and the power of death returns back into my body. This is it. When Taiji unites, the three ultimates circulate. From the perspective of death, both blessings and curses, yin and yang, as long as they belong to the domain of life, are all colorless. And the colorless that forms when blessings and curses merge symbolizes life, and the forces of life and death once again draw the Taiji. When viewed in reality, it looks as if three energies are circulating. It looks like three ultimates, but it's actually Taiji drawn from the power of two energies mixed together with the power of death. Understanding Uo's words, I close my eyes and draw the three great ultimates. Insert yin and yang of the heaven path and earth path to create colorless. Correspond void shattering to death to create black. As I do this, the three great ultimates begin to circulate without me needing to rotate them. Payet. At the same time, I feel the power of death within me rapidly being drawn into the three great ultimates. The speed of the three great ultimates is even faster than when I forcibly rotate them. The rate of power amplification increases. If it's like this, I grin. If it's just an ordinary sacred vessel stage without a middle realm, I might truly be able to contend with them. PSSSD. However, there's a slight issue with the three great ultimates created in this manner. Perhaps it's because death inherently possesses the characteristic of stillness Chinese letter. The three great ultimates, having absorbed my death energy, eventually lets the aura die down, and the death energy returns to my body again. While there isn't a significant change in the cultivation itself, it seems that the three great ultimates obtained this way provide a higher rate of amplification in exchange for not being able to last for a long time. Ultimately, instead of resolving the death energy, it's a method that temporarily detaches the death energy from my body to amplify my power. Of course, if I keep circulating the three great ultimates nonstop, theoretically, I wouldn't be dragged to the netherworld. But that's it. I would have to live my entire life constantly activating the three great ultimates just to barely avoid being pulled into the netherworld. For now, I need to find a more fundamental solution than what UO has given me. I sigh, using the star vein to set my direction towards the lightning sacred sea, and slowly start using the ground shrinking technique. The new three great ultimates that rotates driven by the aura of death. I rotate the death path, Chinese letter, three great ultimates again to further separate death from myself for a bit longer, and I turn my incarnation back towards the star. Just then, for a moment, I feel several scenes flash before my eyes. The outskirts of the netherworld, the outskirts of the source river, seen through the star vein eye. And it's a scene of hundreds of millions of light clusters gathering to form a garden in the shape of flowers. I understand what blood yin meant by five senses. So that's it. Until now, I thought nether perception and star vein eye were the only senses that touched the domains of other heavenly venerables. But unexpectedly, I possess yet another sense. That place is Eastern Heaven Flower Field. The sense that perceives the cradle that allows beings of the netherworld and the source river to return to the existing realm. I can feel clearly what this sense is. Every person, no, every living being in this world has, at some point, seen the Eastern Heaven Flower Field. When a person who died is reincarnated and reborn. When a baby is born into this world, what is the first thing the baby sees? The midwife's face, the parent's face. Wrong. The first thing a baby sees is the light they gaze upon when they emerge from the darkness. Then what exactly is that first light that shines upon the child? It is not merely a light seen when emerging from the darkness. Every living being, upon birth, sees the Eastern Heaven Flower Field they have passed through. If I think about it, have been reborn hundreds of times. Each time I started a new cycle, I've always seen light. That wasn't simply the light of regression. That was, perhaps, the flower named after my life that I saw as I was granted a new life. That sensation I felt after dying and being reborn hundreds of times, that sensation was precisely the sense of perceiving the flower realm. As the aura of death that envelops me momentarily fades through the rotation of the three great ultimates, I'm able to clearly perceive that sense. This is a sense of perceiving the five worlds. I heighten my senses of the Eastern Heaven Flower Field even further. The entire world begins to blur, and here and there light starts to shine. At the same time, light of all of the heaven's natural colors fill the surroundings, and each cluster of light merges to bloom into beautiful flowers. This is the flower realm. These flowers they are flowers that symbolize life, the life that will soon be granted. They determine the family, environment, body, and race one will be born into, while also representing the lives of those currently living. Oh, is that so? You must not touch them recklessly. Terrifying beings like the wheel annihilation evil heart flower grow everywhere like weeds. Of course, those who have learned certain special methods can intrude here and use techniques that borrow the energy of such sinister flowers, but TL wheel as in cartwheel, as in axle and wheel. Perhaps entering here is also fate, so I'll give you a gift. Take it. It's an annihilation flower. Pardon? Without giving me a chance to refuse, the old man places a black flower into my hand and leaves. Thump, thump, thump. I clutch my throbbing heart and regain my senses. Hyog hook. The surroundings are still inside my body. What was that just now? I had a conversation with someone of unknown identity. And that someone had gifted me something called the annihilation flower, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. I quickly feel around my incarnation's body and rummage through my main body as well. As I toss and turn, earthquakes and storms erupt in various places, but now is not the time to worry about that. Just what did I receive and from whom? I feel cold sweat trickling down as I observe my body, soul, and celestial energy. There is no conspicuous ominous misfortune, or what exactly is it? However, not seeing anything special only makes me only more anxious. Payet. I gather my comrades, who are scattered and each cultivating on their own, into one place. Everyone, I have something to tell you. And what is it? Payet. I take out the all-heaven sword and stick one into each of their heads. From now on with this, you'll be able to communicate with me, so please ascend immediately. What's the matter, master? This doesn't come off easily. Hong Fan brushes something off my chest, saying something is stuck, and asks. Firstly, I tell my comrades an important truth. It's about us. The higher beings of this world call the seven of us, who come from other worlds and possess special powers, as enders, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Oh, then me and this. And I have occasionally mentioned this before, but do not recklessly reveal what you possess. I interrupt Oh Hyeonseok's words and shout loudly. I know some of you may not know, but I have met a higher being long ago. It was a being also known as a true immortal, and they told me this. True immortals can bestow us with nothing but misfortune. In other words, even if true immortals show us goodwill and bless us, their goodwill and blessings will become a misfortune that we cannot bear. I continue with a stern face. And just now, I received something like an unknown blessing as a gift from a being I presume to be a true immortal. Hearing this, the color drains from all my comrades' faces. Perhaps because they had been killed by the true, immortal-level blood yin hundreds of times, everyone seems fearful. Is this not it? Experiencing death too much in a short period, I got confused. There's no way my comrades died hundreds of times. They must be worried because they are remembering the time when blood yin invaded the bright cold realm. I wasn't confused before, but maybe it's because the records in the canvas of myriad forms and connections piled up too rapidly that I got confused momentarily. I feel a headache coming on for some reason as I recall my meeting with Sacred Master Yuo. What was it? Something was off. There was a sense of discomfort during my meeting with Yuo, but I can't figure out what it exactly was. I shake my head and decide to investigate slowly before continuing my explanation. Anyway, since I have received a blessing from such a being, it's currently dangerous to be near me. What are you talking about? We need to stick together at a time like this. Well, that's right. Just like when you suddenly started leaking black water and fainted earlier, someone needs to be there to help you. After hearing that, I look at Seo Ran and Hong Fan and say, if that's the case, then everyone except Seo Ran and Hong Fan, please ascend. What? Seo Ran's nether-crossing ship and Hong Fan's entering heavens beyond the path and integrated Dao domain are more than useful to me, regardless of the realm I mean. However, if others want to stay with me, it would be better to raise your realm first. I sternly lay out the facts to my comrades. Frankly, at your current levels, you're more of a hindrance. My words darken my comrades' complexions. Kim Yeon and Kim Young-hoon look at me with strange eyes for some reason, while the rest of my comrades nod with bitter expressions. Well, all right, if that's the case. Once I reach the same realm as you, I will definitely come and find you. Oh Hyeonseok says this and turns around with Azure Tiger Saint. After a while, led by Oh Hyeonseok, the rest of my comrades begin to attempt their ascension to the bright cold realm. Wu-wung. They embody the attraction force of the middle realm, connecting their attraction force with the attraction force of the bright cold realm, and start creating a path to the interdimensional void. I see off my comrades, and just as they are about to ascend, Kim Young-hoon speaks to me in heart language. Seo Yoon-hyan, can't you feel that something is off with yourself? What do you mean? The past, you would never have said it like that. I'm not sure what you're saying. All right, since you seem completely unaware, I'll tell you. Take a good look at your intent. You will be able to understand immediately what I am talking about. Puzzled by his words, I look at Kim Young-hoon, and they ascend back to the bright cold realm from my body. What about my intent? If it's about Master's intent, it has become difficult to read due to the advancement in realm. Hong Fan, who remains here, immediately answers me. It has become difficult to read. Ah, that's right. Thinking about it, it was like that. Both the esteemed ones of the blood yin realm and those seen in the lightning sacred sea. It was difficult to read any of their intent. At that time, I just vaguely thought it was because of the difference in realms, but now I should be able to figure out the reason. I sit in a lotus position and begin to observe my intent. What about my intent? Oh. I immediately understand. This is insane. Thud. I immediately rise from my seat and clutch my head. Back in the days of the true devil realm invasion, when I first saw the left hand of esteemed one Sui Ryong, I couldn't read the intent at all. Back then, I thought it was simply due to the difference in realms that the intent was unreadable. But now, I finally understand the reason. Void shattering is achieved through realizing emptiness, and star shattering esteemed ones eventually become emptiness upon becoming esteemed ones. I also understand the reason. The intent of esteemed ones begins to slowly transforms into attraction force. That is why I couldn't properly read the intent of the blood yin realm esteemed one. Esteemed ones naturally realize emptiness when they reach the star-shattering stage. I see. Fate is essentially attraction force. And immortal arts is the method by which fate and the world are twisted by the heart. Therefore, from the star-shattering stage onward, the heart begins to transform into attraction force itself. The reason why my intent, which was previously fine, suddenly began changing into attraction force is probably because I vomited the power of death using the Death Path 3 Great Ultimates. Sacred Master Yuo. I smile bitterly. She had said it. The heart is essentially death. Thus, the moment I momentarily shed the power of death from my body, the transformation of my heart into attraction force began. In the end, I found a method I can't use. If I empty out death, my heart turns into attraction force, and I eventually become emotionless. If I retain my heart without it transforming into attraction force, I end up being dragged to the underworld by the power of death, trapped for eternity. Either way, it's a dreadful ending. Kagagugu. I lead the colorless sword mountain treading sea great star, and navigate towards the far end of the universe while letting out a sigh. 3 years have passed. Kagagugu. During my space journey, I finally arrive at a decaying corpse realm after a long time. This is the place. Decaying corpse realms are usually scattered across the interdimensional void, but some special decaying corpse realms are occasionally found within the astral realm. Like Yang Sujin's ring finger or this thigh bone, so to speak. I extend my consciousness towards the thigh bone, surrounded by a dimensional veil. As expected, it's pretending to be a decaying corpse realm, but it's something alive. It's not like the vestiges of the interdimensional void. Is it an entering nirvana true person? I carefully avoid provoking that being as I approach the inside of the thigh bone. In front of the world called the peaceful cloud continent, I shrink my main body and overlay it with my incarnation, shaping it into a human form before descending within. Payet. In one place on the continent. After finding a familiar presence there, I head to the brat's dwelling. Ruler of the peaceful cloud continent. The grand perfection golden core sage god, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, who is said to have set a foot inside the true God realm, the Black Blade Great Emperor, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Ham Jin, is tilting his cup of wine surrounded by pond of alcohol and a forest of meat, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. TL, pond of alcohol and a forest of meat, is an idiom used to describe an environment of luxury, wealth, and indulgence. Ha 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 ha, this is indeed the paradise of the mortal world. Soon, through the true God advancement ritual, I will reach the nascent soul stage. Then, truly no one will be able to oppose this seat's imperial words. He embraces beautiful women and several handsome men, eyeing the virgins brought before him. Ha ha ha, you were the ones who dared to challenge this seat's power and prestige. Good. As an example, tonight this seat shall show you affection. You filthy thing. If you are a cultivator, should you not cultivate the Tao instead of lusting after women like us who are already betrothed? Because of you plundering our nation's treasury for your entertainment, our country is in chaos. Not to mention our clan. Do you even know how many women and men you have taken away from us? Why do you make our lives miserable? Hadiadohasa. Hamjin laughs uproariously. Impudent things, speak all you want. I have power and you do not, that is all. Hamjin joyfully raises his cup towards the sky. May the power and prestige of this seat be eternal. Quarrung. Just then, clink. Hamjin feels as if lightning flashed before his eyes, and the whole world seems to have stopped. What's this? The flow of particles is slowing down. No, is it my mind that has accelerated? I see. Both are happening. This is. Suddenly, Hamjin realizes someone has arrived before him. W.W. Wuji, cult leader. Has the cult leader personally descended? Wuji cult leader Seo Yunhyan. A giant devil with over a dozen heads, the source of the power Hamjin has cultivated. Seo Yunhyan, who has descended by distorting the spacetime around him, looks around and clicks his tongue. With your talent and the black blade maturing secrets I made, you should have reached the mid-nascent soul stage long ago. Just what have you been doing all this time? THTH that is. I have been struggling to spread the name of the cult leader across this continent. Did I ask you to do that, Tusk? Enough, just hand over the key. Yes, yes. Hamjin hastily pulls out a green jade tablet from his possession and presents it to Seo Yunhyan. Receiving the jade tablet, Seo Yunhyan looks at Hamjin. Just looking at you, your mind is full of delusions, desires, and greed. Yes, yes, I Hamjin have erred, if cult leader just gives me time. I originally intended to make you my direct disciple if you ascended. Pardon? Seo Yunhyan silently reveals his presence before Hamjin. Hu Huax Yuquac. Hamjin's eyes burst and begin to melt. Blood tears stream from his eyes, and Hamjin, unable to withstand Seo Yunhyan's presence, kneels down and starts vomiting. Listen well. You seem to be following me and playing cult leader or emperor, so I will warn you. If you truly wish to follow me, you should have disciplined yourself and accumulated cultivation, not oppress those weaker than you and enjoy such a pond of alcohol and forest of meat like this. Hugua kuag a yue. Flames begin to rise from Hamjin's body. They are glass-colored flames. From within these flames, glass swords start violently erupting from all over Hamjin's body. You, my old connection, Hamjin, if you had accumulated cultivation and reached the heavenly being stage, ascended and came to my side, then as someone with a connection to me, you would have become my true disciple. Then, someday, you might have reached the same realm as I. Kuak Yuhuak Yuhuang. The screaming Hamjin suddenly starts to weep. You Hamjin, you yourself threw away the opportunity to become a godlike being and chose to stay here. I respect your choice, but you shall never face me directly again. Quajuduk. Blades of glass sprout from Hamjin's eyes. Hamjin rolls on the ground screaming in agony, and Seo Yunhyan suddenly disappears from the spot. Simultaneously, time begins to flow normally again. Hiyak Kua Ada. Hamjin regenerates his body, pushing out the glass shards that have grown from him. Yet even after pushing out all the glass shards and regenerating his eyes, Hamjin does not open his eyes. It's because he feels that if he opens his eyes, the terrifying presence of Seo Yunhyan might still be before him. Ku Chuhug. Hamjin feels the knowledge of the process of star formation, forcibly injected into his mind as he rises from the spot. The process of a star's formation and the principle of nature's cycle rotate in Hamjin's mind. Drip. He feels a nosebleed and holding his head shouts, "Get out, everyone, get out." At Hamjin's shout, everyone inside the great hall quickly exits. He climbs onto his throne and falls into thought for a moment. And a little later, he buries his face in his hands and sighs heavily. Just what have I been doing all this time? After that day, the Black Blade Great Emperor Hamjin, who had swept through the peaceful cloud continent, suddenly disappeared. Some say he was murdered, others say he became a true heaven beyond heavens and ascended. The truth is, Hamjin, reflecting on his own ugliness, cast aside all his power and prestige and began proper cultivation hidden in a mountain valley. But everyone on the peaceful cloud continent speculated that Hamjin met his end through whatever means. After rebuking Hamjin, I activated the Jade tablet in the decaying corpse realm and moved to another star. Payet. Now I understand. I click my tongue as I leap between stars. This path of stars, where each is a true person. This wasn't simply installed by esteemed ones. Using the entering nirvana true persons as stepping stones, someone developed this. I follow the path of stars, leading to the lightning sacred sea. Looking at the path of these formations, I speculate who could have developed this. Just who could it be, using the bodies of true persons as stepping stones to establish these transmission arrays? I land on a planet filled with poisonous clouds and mutter. Just then, lofty dragon. I flinch in surprise at the sound coming from around me and look around. They instructed the true persons at that time to create this path. I soon realize who the voice belongs to and am shocked. A star, no, a true person imitating a star. And when we reached this realm, they told us to refine this path. The voice around me grows louder and clearer. In order to repay that person's grace, we became true persons and refined their path. Therefore, the path that originally comprised of 3 true persons that worshipped lofty dragon has now become a path formed of dozens of true persons. The incarnation of this star-mimicking true person appears before me. He is dressed in ancient attire, his face marked with dozens of bizarre tattoos, and a magnificent beard, presenting a dignified image of an elderly man with white hair. Cultivation spells are ultimately a path to reach immortal arts. The more it's called a peerless divine skill, the closer it is to immortal arts. Moreover, Lofty Dragon arranged for 2 immortal arts to activate this path of stars, and the methods to reach those 2 immortal arts are precisely purple soul filling the heavens, salt sea returning due Jade. He looks at me and asks, I am the Lofty Dragon Care Chief Priest of the human race. Why can I feel the aura of these 2 techniques from a human race sacred vessel junior? I don't know about salt sea returning due Jade, but purple soul filling the heavens should be unattainable without transmission beyond mere formulas. Purple soul filling the heavens was passed down to the dragon race, not the human race. What exactly is your identity? I recognize who he is, and my eyes light up. You're the one who left the diary in the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person. The one who was hung upside down by Lofty Dragon True Person for not being able to draw a tingwa and got beaten quite badly. An awkward silence hangs between us for a moment. The true person, who had been silent for a moment, clicks his tongue at me while looking at me as if in disbelief. I see. I didn't realize it since the scale of attraction force seen in the foresight was absurdly large, but could it be that you're in the star-shattering stage? Your mental state doesn't seem that well, but to think such an existence like you would appear. He strokes his beard, appearing intrigued by me. I don't quite understand what you mean. I furrow my brows, trying to grasp the meaning of what the true person is saying. Since what stands before me is not the real physical body but an incarnation, I can't read any biological reactions, nor can I read his intent since he's a true person beyond the star-shattering stage, where intent transforms into attraction force. The true person laughs while stroking his beard. Esteemed ones gradually begin to transform their consciousness into attraction force. I've seen quite a few who, unable to adapt to this change, end up suffering from chi deviation and inner demons. How about you? Are you afraid? I'm not sure. I respond expressionlessly, stroking my chin. In the past, emotion seemed quite important, but honestly I'm not sure right now. I don't know why I put so much effort into these things. I also can't quite grasp why I had sought powers like the 3 great ultimates or void shattering. Instead, if I had focused solely on heaven and earth cultivation, I would have reached the sacred vessel stage by now. He strokes his beard again and then abruptly introduces himself. Come to think of it, I haven't introduced myself. I am Jinlu Gok, the representative of the human race 500,000 years ago and the Lofty Dragon Care High Priest, who served the immortal beast Lofty Dragon as my master in the past. And I gaze at him with a bit of curiosity at his continued words. A man once called a master of consciousness methods 500,000 years ago, who, at one point, reached the 3rd stage of manifestation as a member of the Heart Tribe. Though I've now forgotten manifestation, so I'm neither Heart Tribe or anything of the sort. That is surprising. Mastering the skills of the Heart Tribe is not easy. What's difficult about it? I even received direct teachings in the consciousness method from the Tridekna vast cold heavenly king over 500,000 years ago. He smiles faintly and claps his hands together. Clap. And speaking as a master of such consciousness methods, I'd say that those with manifestation in the Heart Tribe experience their consciousness turning into attraction force at a faster rate, and to a more intense degree once they reach the realm of an esteemed one. Oh, that's interesting. Shouldn't those who train in manifestation from the Heart Tribe be able to maintain their emotions for a longer time, even after becoming esteemed ones? But Jinlu Gok explains that part quite clearly, making it easy for me to understand. Have you ever built a sandcastle? Yes, well, I used to do it sometimes when I was a child. I see. Then when you build that sandcastle, is the shadow of a large sandcastle small, or is the shadow of a small sandcastle small? I catch on to what he's trying to say. You're saying that the size of the shadow corresponds to the size of the heart built through manifestation. 7 points out of 10. Think it over again carefully. I take a moment to reflect and carefully reconsider his question. Suddenly, I sense something strange. Wait, the size of the shadow. The size of the shadow varies depending on the position of the sun, doesn't it? Exactly. The correct answer isn't the size but the light. While the size does have some influence, it's minimal. Ultimately, a larger and longer shadow means being closer to the sun. He tells me this with a profound expression. In other words, the closer you get to the light, the bigger the shadow becomes. If we consider the sandcastle you built as the cultivation of the heart tribe, then the cultivation of a heaven tribe cultivator that cultivates attraction force is an act of approaching the light. Of course, all beings inevitably draw closer to the light through cultivation, so that's not the issue. The real issue lies with those who, like you or I, have built sandcastles or even sand mountains in their hearts. Ordinary heaven, earth cultivators are like flatlands. So, that's why people like us experience a much faster and more intense transformation of intent into attraction force compared to regular cultivators. You could say so. Ordinary star-shattering stage cultivators only have their consciousness briefly turn into attraction force whenever they use spells, and their consciousness gradually transforms over time. But for us, once our consciousness shifts into attraction force, our very mind changes into attraction force at once, just like what you're experiencing now. I contemplate, looking inward at myself. Indeed, I've been feeling somewhat emotionless lately. I have become indifferent to the realm of void shattering, but if I keep going like this and forget manifestation, it would be a significant loss of power. Although further training in void shattering is excessive, losing what I already have would be a disadvantage to me, so I asked Jinlu Gok for a solution. From what you're saying, it sounds like there's a way to avoid this once one reaches the realm beyond the star-shattering stage. Of course there is. What is it? I ask with a blank expression. But before I answer, I have something to ask you. What is it? What does the heart mean to you? Why do you seek to regain it? I ponder deeply. That's true. Why am I trying to regain it? The heart is nothing but a source of distraction. Even if I keep it within my chest, it's nothing more than a factory that produces heart demons, a source of pain that plagues me. From the start, isn't the heart essentially death? Recently, I have often been revolving the three great ultimates to separate death energy from my body. At first, it was hard to keep the three great ultimates spinning constantly, but now I've gotten somewhat used to it. After all, this is a matter of life and death, so I am literally staking my life on it. Diving deeply into the heart could cause the separated death energy to erupt and drag me to the underworld. The heart. Why on earth do I need to cultivate such a thing? It's too dangerous. At this point, it might be better to give up on void shattering altogether and focus solely on heaven, earth, and puppet. For some reason, Kim Yoon seems to have developed patterns similar to the extraordinary pattern law talent, which suggests that she lost her voice, but gained something akin to the extraordinary pattern law talent in return. If I could ask her to use that talent to create sacred vessel circuits or entering nirvana puppets, I could wield the strongest power in a more stable manner. Wait, this is strange. However, in place of my lost emotions, my reason that has become extremely cold and rational detects a profound contradiction within myself. Why do you want to become the strongest? That's because only by being the strongest can I protect my comrades. Why do you want to protect your comrades? Only by being with them can I unravel the mystery of the existence known as Enders and someday return to my homeland. Why do you want to go back to your homeland? Couldn't you just indulge in ponds of alcohol and forests of meat and focus on reproduction here for all eternity? That's because I suddenly find myself at a loss for words. The question Jinlu Gok threw at me seems to cling to me, turning into a heart demon. No, this man, he's really done something to me. There's really a heart demon whispering within my consciousness. Jinlu Gok, he casts some curse on me. I glare at Jinlu Gok for a moment, but I can't afford to engage in a confrontation against someone at a higher realm with a curse clinging to me. Especially now, when even my void shattering is unstable, it's even more impossible. Since he doesn't have thoughts on attacking me for now, let's deal with this heart demon first. It's something I have to resolve anyway. I extricate myself from Jinlu Gok's planetary body, take a position in the cosmic space, and quickly begin to answer the contradictions that keep arising in my mind. My parents are back home. I have a job there. If I stay here, I'll be reported missing, and who knows what will happen to my social standing. Why are you concerned with the culture of those mere bugs? You are already a star in itself. With just a little more cultivation, you'll reach the sacred vessel stage and enjoy a lifespan spanning in the billions. That's enough time for microorganisms to evolve and build a civilization. So why are you trying to return to a society so far beneath you? Is that so? It's a reasonable point. Even my parents are ultimately just humans made of flesh and blood. Moreover, the world I perceive is beyond the grasp of ordinary mortals. As a star-shattering, esteemed one, there is no longer any need to concern myself with the connection between parent and child. My body is no longer even human, and having become a star, why should I still be concerned about such things? I have transcended humanity. So it isn't a heart demon but a blessing. It seems I have misunderstood Jin Lugok. Instead of something like a heart demon, he appears to have given me a stimulus or blessing to free my mind from the shackles of inferior humans, but I had mistaken it due to my paranoia. Let's throw away the shackles of race and live freely as I roam the universe from now on. Honestly, why should I be entangled in such chains of this and that? I no longer need comrades. The annihilation of the heavenly domain. With my current self, I feel like I could reach the entering nirvana stage within 500,000 years if don't care about the means and methods. I just need to repeat it 50 more times without dying. Then I would attain the true body of the entering nirvana stage, be able to withstand the destruction of the heavenly domain, and surviving that would guarantee at least hundreds of millions of years of cultivation time. Even if it takes hundreds of millions of years, I will surely become a true immortal. I would become a true immortal and truly achieve eternal life. Then I realized something strange. The blessing that Jin Lugok gave me is whispering to me once again. Why do you need to achieve eternal life? I pondered deeply before answering. Because I want to live. Is there really a need for a reason beyond that? However, the blessing persistently asks for a reason. Why do you want to live? Why do I want to live? Isn't it obvious? There are all kinds of pleasures, prosperity and splendor in the world. Isn't living eternally to enjoy those things an incredibly precious opportunity? Why do you need to enjoy such things? That's because among the desires of life, the desire for sleep, reproduction, and food are essential for a living creatures to survive. Then, in the middle of my answer, I realized the contradiction in that response as well. But I'm not a living creature anymore. I don't even have such desires. Which means the desires I just mentioned aren't truly what I want. Realizing this truth, I become confused. I'm not even a living creature, and desires have no meaning. Having become a star itself, things like comrades, family, and connections lost their meaning. Then why am I even living? The one asking these questions is no longer the heart demon. It is myself, endlessly questioning and answering myself. I twist the surrounding space-time with attraction force, accelerating the flow of time, and think within that space. 10 seconds here equal 1 second outside. There is ample time to think. Why am I alive? To avoid suffering. Simply because I cannot die due to regression. I trace my purpose from beginning to end. Why am I here doing this? My initial purpose was to break regression. I recall the 18th cycle and think of Seo Lee. To have a body that can be buried in the ground when it dies. To live a single, proper life. To live a life where those who remember me remain in this world even if I die. That was what I genuinely desired when I was still human. Though it doesn't make much sense to me now, that's how it was back then. And to break the regressions, I pondered how it could be done. The result of that contemplation was, since I gained the ability when I came to this world, the ability should disappear if I returned to Earth. And so I began searching for a way to return to Earth. It's a bit complicated, but that's why I initially wanted to investigate the Ascension Gate at Ascension Path. Because if I could investigate the Ascension Gate, I might find a way to return to Earth. And for that, I began my life of immortal cultivation. Thinking back now, my early goals were incredibly tangled. Break the cycle of regression. To do that, return to Earth. To do that, investigate the Ascension Gate. To do that, begin immortal cultivation. To do that, obtain the spiritual roots needed for immortal cultivation. To do that, reach 5 energies converging to the origin. To do that, I really had a lot to do, huh? As I reflect on all that, I recall the purpose I had forgotten. Yes, now that I think about it, my goal was to break the regressions and create a fate where I would be remembered even if I died. But now, I no longer know what my purpose is. Could it be because my heart has transformed into attraction force? I feel that the goals I pursued before no longer resonate with me at all. What should I do? Staring blankly into the void for a moment, I finally made a cold, rational decision, devoid of any emotion. There's no meaning to living. If emotions hold no meaning and instincts hold no meaning, then there's no meaning for me to live in this world. Ha! I laugh. Then let's die. Ha ha! But I can't die, as long as regression exists. Ha 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 ha. Therefore, I must break the cycle of regression. Break the cycle of regression, and even if I die, let there be a world where those who remember me remain. That is. That is what I have been striving for from the very beginning, my purpose. Bursting into a crazed laughter, I once again accept death. The death that had temporarily left my body. While I was spinning the death path, three great ultimates returns to me. When attraction force reaches its peak, the heavenly domain reaches the end. Moreover, according to her, the more the heart tribe uses their power, the sooner the end arrives. It's a problem that never required any deliberation in the first place. The heart is essentially death, and all beings are fated to face death. You madman! From afar, Jinlugok's stunned mental speech echoes through the cosmic space. When I think about it, the answer was always within me. Phenomena extinguishing mantra. I bring the attraction force around me to its peak. The surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy is drawn in. I cannot crumple and crush the entire universe like the owner of Great Mountain, but I can distort the surrounding attraction force and create a world filled with light and heat around me. Payet. I compress the attraction force and contain it within my chest. Kirururung. Caressing my chest, I half open my eyes. Thank you for your guidance. Expressing my gratitude to Jinlugok, I completely overcome the phenomenon of intent transforming into attraction force. Attraction force and the heart were never entirely separate to begin with. From the beginning, the place attraction force points towards is the heart. Kuguk tuguguguk. At the same time, I sense an immense attraction force emanating from the death I just accepted, pulling me in. The netherworld is calling me. If this continues, I'll be dragged back to the netherworld. But let's remember that moment, the time of the universe's creation. I may not have witnessed the beginning of the universe with my own eyes, but I was present during its early days, and through the star-vane eye, I could trace back to the point where the universe's creation first began. As I imagined that moment of the universe's creation, I opened my eyes wide. Flash. The light and heat gather within my chest explodes. At the same time, the power of death within that light and heat also erupts. Quarvirurung. An overwhelming explosion occurs within my body, and my incarnation bursts apart, leaving my main body positioned in the cosmic space. You said that the heart is death, and that it's the end. Defying her words, I scattered death outward from within the explosion. When she showed me the destruction of the universe, my heart truly sank. To think my cultivation was accelerating the end of the universe. But when I thought about it again, it was strange. Certainly, when attraction force reaches its peak, the universe meets its end. But isn't a new universe born at the same time? I recall the end heavenly circle that ends with acceptance at fate's end, and the vast cold heavenly circle that concludes with the cycle of the 4 seasons, and I half close my eyes. It is not the end. Chwararara. The power of death that had been layered within my soul scatters, transforming into pure heaven and earth spiritual energy that envelops the surroundings. It can also be a new beginning. I understand why the heart turns into attraction force during the star-shattering stage. At the star-shattering stage, the heart becomes attraction force, and that force begins to reach its peak as cultivation progresses. Ultimately, the attraction force coalesces once more, bringing about the end, and beyond that end, a new heart is born. What I just experienced was akin to a preview of that process. Of course, since I did not go through the real process, I don't know what problems might arise when I truly reach that stage and attempt to go through it. But one thing is certain. Whether at the sacred vessel stage or entering nirvana stage, there will definitely come a time when this experience proves useful. I realize that, due to the recent attraction force and explosion, I vaporized and dispersed the power of death that had accumulated within my soul, and I smile. The transformation of the heart to attraction force, and the attraction force of the underworld. Having resolved both, I swim through the still lingering radiance of the explosion to bow to Jin Lugok. As I wade through the cluster of light, I suddenly feel a strange sensation. Why isn't this space of light ending? At that moment I sense delicate, jade-like hands appear behind me and gently stroke my cheek. Chills. Despite having reached the level of an esteemed one, I failed to detect any signs. I freeze in place, feeling the delicate jade-like hands toy with my cheek. The delicate jade-like hands trace my cheek, then slide down to caress my nape, and finally rest on my shoulder. Flinching. As soon as the hand touches my shoulder, I snap to my senses and try to move my body. But my body doesn't respond, as if paralyzed. The delicate, jade-like hands continue to tease my shoulder. Since the 15th cycle, no one has persistently toyed with my shoulder like this. I grip my teeth in humiliation and shame, letting my shoulder be touched by a presence I did not permit. Then the will echoes. Delightful thing. The will teases my shoulder as it speaks. As expected, you are far too desirable. Tingle. Feeling the sensation on my shoulder, my body trembles as if struck by a heavenly tribulation. Pugwag. Someone, not stopping with just teasing, bites down on my shoulder with their teeth. I feel my hands and feet trembling in humiliation, and my face turning bright red. You belong to this Lord. When you eventually come to the Heavenly King heavenly domain, you will inevitably be mine. With those words, the someone vanishes abruptly. At the same time, I emerge from the glow of the explosion. I clutch my shoulder, bending over from the intense, sharp pain radiating from it. The pain I feel in my shoulder is so intense that even I, of all people, momentarily consider it unbearable. Fortunately, it isn't a persistent pain, but something that seems to have occurred momentarily. This is. When I remove my hand from my shoulder, I see a long sword scar etched on my left shoulder. Pazazasa. Even after dispersing my incarnation and reforming it, the result is the same. No matter how I recreate my incarnation, the sword scar remains etched upon it. This crazy. Thinking about the being who engraved the mark on me and left, I feel my hair stand on end. Sword spear heavenly lord. Did they come after witnessing me overcome death, or after seeing the explosion? Just what exactly did they see to come find me? Damn it. This is not good. A being of light has not only sought me out, but even left their own mark behind. I won't be dragged to the sword spear, heavenly lord, instead of the heavenly venerable of the underworld when I die, right? I feel a cold sweat forming as I sigh. For now, I decide to find a way to remove this mark later and approach Jin Lugok. Elder, I offer my deep gratitude for your teachings. If he hadn't cast the heart demon curse on me, I wouldn't have attained this enlightenment. Jin Lugok looks at me for a moment, then lets out a deep sigh and dispels his incarnation as he speaks. Originally, I only intended to give Junior a bit of enlightenment so you wouldn't suffer from inner demons, but your sudden enlightenment has exceeded my expectations. Go on. Elder mentioned you had questions regarding purple soul, filling the heavens or salt sea returning due Jade. I don't want to talk to you. I've roughly understood what kind of beings you're entangled with. Just go and take care of your business. I have no more curiosity. I understand that there might be some misunderstanding, but I am by no means in the kind of relationship you are thinking of with the owner of Great Mountain, or the fifth seat of the Radiant's 8 immortals, Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. Kuagle. Jin Lugok screams and shouts. Get out, do not let them form an attraction force with me and quickly disappear. Hurry and get lost. I thought he could withstand it since he's at the entering nirvana stage, but unexpectedly, even the name of true immortals seems to be fatal to those in the entering nirvana stage. No, maybe it's even more fatal because he's at the entering nirvana stage. I didn't think of that. Smacking my lips, I head to the teleportation array on the surface of Jin Lugok's planet and activate it. I apologize for disturbing your rest. I will visit later to apologize properly. No need, just get lost. He seems to want to get rid of me immediately, but thinking I have formidable backers, he refrains from using force. I give a bitter smile, bow to him, and before transferring to another true person's body, I ask him a question. I'd like to ask one last question. Do you know why the path of the stars, made by lofty dragon true person exists, and why it is connected to the lightning sacred sea? He replies curtly to my question. Shouldn't you ask the divine spirit you serve? As I mentioned, the mountain. I got it, you brat. I'll just say it, okay. During the Blood Yin Great War, the entire Sun and Moon heavenly domain was caught up in that conflict. Lofty Dragon True Person took pity on the living beings of the domain and created a path for them to escape to other heavenly domains. If you follow this path of the stars, at its end lies the starting point of this heavenly domain. The starting point of the heavenly domain. It's the place I arrived at in my 19th cycle, guided by the awakening of the star Vein I under the arrangements of Yong Seung, the immortal treasure of the heavenly venerable of time. The starting point of the heavenly domain is where the heavenly domain first exploded. It is also a direct path to the deepest part of the domain of the heavenly venerable of time, and at the same time, serves as the gateway to travel between different heavenly domains. I see. The path of the stars guides the living beings to the starting point of the heavenly domain, allowing them to escape the domain whenever needed. And 120,000 years ago, if that madman hadn't stuck his ring finger into the starting point of the heavenly domain and blocked the path, our Sun and Moon heavenly domain would have been able to freely interact with other heavenly domains, but thanks to the remains left by that madman, even if the end comes, we can't escape the domain to flee. Likewise, beings from other heavenly domains also cannot meddle freely in this heavenly domain. It's golden divine, isn't it? Considering all the chaos he's caused, it's not surprising anymore. This is the truth regarding the path of stars. At the other end of the path of stars, it connects to the Sea King Hall of the ancient force realm. When a crisis erupts in the Sun and Moon heavenly domain, the descendant of lofty dragon superior Yu will open the path, activating it so the living beings within the body of lofty dragon superior will be the first to exit the heavenly domain. From that point onward, the path of stars served as an emergency escape network, allowing the living beings of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain to evacuate to adjacent heavenly domains through the ancient force realm in case of emergency. As I learn the truth of the path of stars, I nod. Thank you for sharing this information. I will repay you someday. The best way to repay me is to never come looking for me again. I don't want to get involved with you. Now go, get out of here. Jinlu Gok no longer associates with me as if I'm something terrible. With a bitter smile, I give him one last bow before activating the teleportation array. Payet. Several days have passed. After passing through dozens of teleportation arrays, I have finally reached the lightning sacred sea. I arrived at the ring finger of Yang Sujin. Kagagugu. A gigantic ring finger covered by a dimensional veil appears before my eyes. It's been a while since I've come here. No, it's probably the first time I've come in person, isn't it? Last time, I had only sent my consciousness rather than my main body, so it hadn't felt particularly real. But this time, maybe because I'm here in my main body, or perhaps because I've risen to the star-shattering stage. The lightning immortal Yang Sujin, it feels as though he's right in front of me. I calm my tingling body and focus my mind. Wuong. When I extend my consciousness and exert my authority, I feel my consciousness domain transforming into attraction force again. Unless I take special measures, it will likely turn back into attraction force. Of course, since I've already found a solution to consciousness turning into attraction force, I can revert it back to intent at any time by taking the proper measures at the right moment. Now then, shall I enter the lightning sacred sea? Let's go find the esteemed ones who are struggling within the remains of Yang Sujin. I slowly begin to make my way into the inner area of Yang Sujin's remains. Kagagugu. The heavenly rain great star gradually moves further into the dimensional veil of the lightning sacred sea. Just as my main body enters the inner area of the lightning sacred sea. Kwajijik. I look around. This place, above and below, is a world with nothing but black clouds and golden lightning pouring down like rain. The first time I entered here with Jang Ik, it had looked like a simple bathhouse, so I'm slightly taken aback as I scan the surroundings. There's nothing in particular that catches attention. The only notable aspect, just like before, is that I can't use the powers of Qi or Soul. However, I am not the same as before. Even in this world, attraction force exists. Kagaguguk. Starting from an esteemed one, consciousness transforms into attraction force. It is not merely handling attraction force like in the four-axis or integration stages, but a level where attraction force becomes part of the soul itself. Thus, by merely thinking, I can distort space with attraction force or tear holes in spacetime more easily than breathing. Quaying. I pierce through the space composed of black clouds. As the space seems to dissipate, I find myself in a new location. This place is. The world is even more densely filled with thunderclouds, Chinese letter, than before. The clouds are thicker, and even more electric charges rumble between them. Quang. Once again, I pierce through the space with attraction force and move forward. However, the next space I reach is yet another world of thunderclouds. What's going on? It wasn't like this last time. I am bewildered, but then suddenly notice the movement and flow of the clouds. This flow of clouds, this reaction of lightning, this is. I open my eyes wide and smile. So that's it, the lightning path method. Each of these worlds of clouds are an expression of each aspect of the golden divine heavenly thunder sects lightning path method. Simply breaking through recklessly won't let me escape. I begin to operate the formula of the lightning path method, utilizing the heaven and earth spiritual energy generated on the surface of my planet. For someone like me, who has learned all the techniques of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect through the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique, mimicking the formula of the thunder path method is as easy as eating cold porridge. Quajijajik. As lightning sparks across the surface of my main body, the surrounding clouds naturally dissipate. However, in an instant, the area fills with clouds again. As expected, to leave this place, I must align the lightning path method's formula with the flow of these clouds and lightning. Quararung. Focusing my mind, I begin to earnestly operate the lightning path method. Quajijajik. Lightning dances. Multicolored bolts of lightning paint the surroundings with vibrant hues, pushing back the clouds. Though more clouds gather as I push them away, the clouds once dispersed by the formula do not drift back towards me. And finally, harnessing every formula of the golden divine heavenly thunder sects lightning path method, I synchronize the flow of the heaven and earth spiritual energy coursing through my main body. Quajijajik. With that, the world once filled with thunderclouds suddenly erupts with a frenzy of lightning, transforming everything around me with a golden glow. It resembles the scene from my advancement to the star-shattering stage, where the star tribulation had raged upon me. For a normal star-shattering stage, one would need to exert all their strength to resist this lightning. However, observing the flow of the lightning, I realize this is the final trial. If the descendant here is one who has learned the red lightning heavenly tribulation method, they would devour this lightning entirely. If it's instead a disciple of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect, they would absorb the lightning matching their mastered formula, receiving a blessing and, in the final case, if it's an entity who has fully mastered all lightning path methods of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect and obtained the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique. Kurururung. The lightning begins to merge and vanish into nothingness. Just like how, when all lightning path methods of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect combine, the spiritual power and energy vanish, leaving only the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique as the sole immortal art. As the lightning fades, only the black clouds remain in its place. Kagagugu. The world, previously just filled with lightning, becomes a realm left only with dark clouds in an instant. The nearby black clouds no longer emit lightning, nor do they gather around me. They simply rotate around me, following the attractive force I radiate. After waiting for a while in that state, Quajijajake. Suddenly, a lightning possessing all of the heaven's natural colors boils up from within the black clouds and strikes my body. W8 this. Knowing the effect of the prismatic lightning, I am shocked to the point of almost fainting. It strikes the soul directly. The next moment, under the power of the relic left by the true immortal Yang Sujin, I lose consciousness entirely. Murmuring. The sound of countless murmuring voices reverberates in my mind. Where is this and what? I feel as though my mind is fragmented like powder, scattered everywhere. The fragmented pieces of my consciousness are hearing dozens, hundreds, thousands, billions, trillions of voices. The voices are so numerous and so vast that I cannot comprehend them all. Fortunately, since having my consciousness splintered like dust is something I experienced to the point of exhaustion during the star-shattering stage advancement ritual, I focus my mind on the consciousness hearing the most familiar voice. Payet. Then I become unable to hear any other sound except that voice, and I feel my mind sharply concentrate on the place where that voice resounds. Huh? When I come to my senses, I see Kim Yon in front of me. Hello? Slightly taken aback by this absurd situation, I look around. Then the eyes of Kim Yon, who seems to be demonstrating something like a magic artifact, widen. Wait, mama. H. Kim Yon, what's wrong, huh? I suddenly flinch in surprise upon hearing my voice. This is. Perhaps because my consciousness hasn't fully coalesced yet, my senses feel a bit unstable. I concentrate even more on gathering my consciousness while observing my body. Then I let out a hollow laugh as I come to understand my current situation. I have descended into the body of Jian Myung-hoon, who is cultivating in the bright cold realm. Mem. It seems that Kim Yon realizes my mind has inhabited Jian Myung-hoon's body, as her eyes gleam with recognition. That's right, Yona. I've arrived at the lightning sacred sea, and somehow I ended up possessing Jian Myung-hoon's body. And as I feel my senses gradually returning, I sense the presence of Yon Jin and Yon Wei nearby. I close my eyes. Pajik. I feel it. The locations of the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect are detected by me in the form of lightning souls, letter F949. Simultaneously, I realize that as I am now, I can possess any disciple of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect without question. No, it's not just that. Through the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique, I notice that I can seize the cultivation of Yon Wei or Yon Jin, or even inject the energy of the lightning sacred sea to amplify it. Moreover, I can issue commands to them at will. I see. When one who has learned the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique arrives at the lightning sacred sea, they gain the authority to freely command the golden divine heavenly thunder sect. No, all disciples of Yang Sujin. At this moment, my position is practically equivalent to having unrestricted access to the founder's command of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect, without even needing the heavenly lightning banner. Jian Myung-hoon, can you hear me? Feeling a little guilty for suddenly taking over Jian Myung-hoon's body, I try to communicate with him. However, I receive no response. It seems that any disciple who becomes possessed via the lightning sacred sea falls into such a deep slumber that they cannot remain conscious. This could be somewhat dangerous. It's fortunate that it was me who mastered the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique and entered the lightning sacred sea. If someone like Oh Haiseo had mastered the technique and entered, a thunder beast might have been born in the head realm that very day. After explaining the current situation in detail to the flustered Kim Yon, I ask her about the current circumstances. Kim Yon eagerly explains with hand and foot gestures while going, MMMHMM. So you're saying that since you can't speak, I should ask someone else? All right, I'm sorry. Leaving Kim Yon behind, I move using Jian Myung-hoon's body. As I move in his body, I realize something. This is. Is it because I descended through the lightning sacred sea? I sense that I can naturally use all of Jian Myung-hoon's techniques. Kwajijik. The Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect is also famous for its flying escape technique, which moves at the speed of lightning. The flying escape technique of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect is also called the Lightning Shadow Flying Escape Technique, because it leaves afterimages of lightning when moving. In the past, while I was still in the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, I too used to be able to use the Lightning Shadow Flying Escape Technique before completing the Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens technique. This looked quite cool, so I would occasionally move using the Lightning Shadow Flying Escape Technique, but after completing the Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens technique, I couldn't use it anymore. This is excellent. Using the Lightning Shadow Flying Escape Technique, I move to the area where my comrades are with flashes of lightning. I quickly circle around Cedarwood Grove once. Pajajik. Cedarwood Grove is tranquil, just as before. There doesn't seem to have been any major disturbance in the bright cold realm. Possessing Jian Myung-hoon's body, I draw out my original consciousness domain through his body. Kirarung. A storm begins to whirl around centered on Jian Myung-hoon's body. Using his body as a medium, I raise my consciousness domain and quickly reach the peak of Heavenly Lotus Mountain. I make contact with Baekwoon. Flash. Inside Baekwoon's white jade pavilion. I appear in front of Baek Woon through the projection of Jeon Myo-hoon. She glares at me and speaks. When I sensed someone suddenly intruding on my territory, I thought some integration stage human had gone mad. But it was you, not some descendant of Yang Soo-jin. Seo Yoon-hyun. I apologize for my rudeness, sacred master. Is your body well? You crazy bastard. Do words of concern even come out of your mouth? She glares at me, growling as if she could tear me apart. It seems that the incident of electrically torturing her and summoning blood yin, as a result, left quite an unpleasant memory for her. I clear my throat and say, I truly, sincerely apologize for the unfortunate incident before. However, I have done my best in my own way to clean up the mess I made. HMPH. It wasn't you, but the great ones who probably exerted their power. If it weren't for your shoulder, I would have beaten this projection you've divine descent into and your comrade to death on the spot. It seems she still harbors a grudge against Jeon Myo-hoon as she spits out harsh words. My shoulder, huh? I subtly touch the left shoulder of Jeon Myo-hoon's body, which I have borrowed. Rotten though she may be, she is indeed a sacred master. She somehow managed to figure out from that vast distance that I was chosen by the sword spear Heavenly Lord. In any case, I don't wish to maintain a bad relationship with Sacred Master. My main body has currently reached the Lightning Sacred Sea. If I return from the Lightning Sacred Sea with the symbols of names of the Middle Realm, would you consider reconciliation? Regardless of what happened, resolving the tension with Baek Woon is the right thing to do. She's not a wicked villain to the core, and as long as she is the Sacred Master of the Bright Cold Realm, the lives of my comrades are essentially in her hands. Seeing me go this far, she sighs and says, to voluntarily participate in the Lightning Sacred Sea expedition. If you truly manage to retrieve the symbols, I will not only forgive you but also grant an appropriate reward. After all, the divine artifacts stolen by Golden Divini are crucial for the Middle Realms. I see. Being able to resolve the grudges between me and Sacred Master is truly a rel. But Baek Woon's eyes blaze with fire. Confirming that a great misfortune has filled the celestial energy in an instant, I flinch. No matter what, I cannot simply let go of the fact that you shocked me with electricity, tortured me, summoned blood yin, and threw the bright cold realm into chaos without any consequence. With nothing to say, I clear my throat. What do you want? She gives a sly smile. I will strike you with a sincere blow. If you take it, I'll forget everything that happened in the past. Then, I will ascend back to the bright cold realm to meet you, if you can wait just a bit. No need to wait. Since you're already possessing the descendant of Golden Divine, take this hit in that form to resolve the grudges regarding both of you. What? I look at her in shock. Without waiting for my response, Baek Woon brightens her gaze and begins gathering heaven and earth spiritual energy. This insane woman, she really intends to hit me with a strike. Breaking into a cold sweat, I swiftly withdraw the projection and pull my consciousness back into Jeon Myo-hoon's body in Cedar Wood Grove. Kugung Kugigung. Above Cedar Wood Grove, the energy of the sky appears to distort dramatically before pure white clouds gather in the sky. The white clouds condense into the form of Baek Woon, dressed in a simple white robe, and her figure starts to expand endlessly. Soon Baek Woon's form, now as enormous as a planet, raises her hand to the heavens. The entire sky over Cedar Wood Grove seemed to darken, completely obscured under the sole of her enormous foot. I look up at her with a dumbfounded expression, letting out a low groan. Kururururung. Just how much resentment has piled up? Honestly, considering the havoc I caused by summoning blood yin and flipping the entire bright cold realm, this is a light price to pay. Tree halberd, Chinese letter. In the consciousness domain of the sacred vessel stage, Baek Woon's planet-sized body is fixed. At the same time, her incarnation's hand grips a massive wooden spear, over 10 times larger than the incarnation itself. Kururururung. Her form made of clouds siphons lightning from Jeon Myo-hoon's heavenly golden thunder body. Simultaneously, it feels as if the entire bright cold realm is suppressing me, blocking any attempt to draw upon my main body's authority. Is she really planning to kill Jeon Myo-hoon, even if he can revive? I can't just waste Jeon Myo-hoon's life on something like this. Wung. I form a chi sword, gripping it as I take my stance and begin performing a sword dance. Did you know, Sacred Master? Just die already, you vile scum. In an instant, my consciousness rises to a higher realm. The single strike of a sacred master, who is virtually no different from a true immortal inside a middle realm. Unlike last time, when she dealt with me half-heartedly, the authority where I can feel her genuine will to rip me apart entirely. Facing Blood Yin, I blocked their single strike once. The sword dance of divine descent unfolds in my hands. A world enters within the sword dance. At the same time, I feel the power of the entire bright cold realm settling within the sword dance. I faintly sense the strands of Beak Wound's emotions that are interwoven throughout the entire bright cold realm and adjust the world's flow. She is shocked. How? I am the sacred master of the bright cold realm. I am its rightful administrator. Dojujujujudo. Using Jian Myohun's body, I draw a circle. Usually, only my power and the world's strength reside in the Sumeru sword dance. But now, using the power of the lightning sacred sea to divine descent into Jian Myohun's body. Quarvirung. I feel even the power of the lightning sacred sea, from that distant place, enter into the Sumeru sword dance. Severing mountain swordsmanship. 33rd move. Sumeru. Transformation technique. Sumeru bright cold lightning path. Heavenly lightning surges into the sky with peach blossom petals, unleashing a roar like a dragon's cry. Beak Wound's earnest single strike, borrowing even the power of the bright cold realm, bursts apart as I pierce straight through her incarnation, scattering the clouds as I soar into the sky. I implore. My will, having briefly accelerated into the domain of true immortals, reverberates across the entire bright cold realm. The grudges be resolved. Among the living beings who hear my will, the weaker ones faint on the spot. Those at the heavenly being stage or higher feel a severe strain on their hearts, and those from the four-axis stage and above have their eardrums rupture. Even the integration stage grand cultivators and demon kings tremble uncontrollably and collapse where they stand upon hearing my will. Beak Wound's form, manifested as clouds, disperses and speaks. To gain the selection of a heavenly lord, must one be a genius of your caliber. Her tone carries a hint of lament. I will resolve my grudges here, my admirations for your talent that shines like the sun. Beak Wound withdraws her consciousness while admiring me, and I descend upon Cedar Wood Grove using Jian Myohun's body. The heart tribe of Cedar Wood Grove, my comrades, and a few of the grand cultivators residing there have all gathered. I apologize for causing a disturbance. Everyone, I am Seo Yun Hyan, currently undergoing divine descent into Jian Myohun's body. My main body remains at the lightning sacred sea end. It's when I begin to calmly explain the situation. From among my comrades, Yon Wei, who is possessing Yon Jin's body, pops out. She looks at me and asks, "So you possess Jian Myohun's body?" Yes, since I am part of the Heart Tribe, like the heaven-collapsing esteemed one, I can use the Heart Tribe's characteristics too. Even Jang Ik couldn't directly possess a bright cold realm's Heart Tribe from the lightning sacred sea. Well, it seems activating the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens techniques formula from the lightning sacred sea enabled the possession of Jian Myohun. Yes, that's correct, but among the records of the lightning sacred sea left in the ancient texts of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect, the only one who used the divine descent characteristic of the lightning sacred sea was the founder himself, and only a few true immortal direct disciples of the founder. From the start, or such divine descent to be invoked, there is a transmission that states one's mind must extend across the 5 domains, much like a true immortal. I believe there is a slight misunderstanding, Elder Yonwei. While my mind may indeed span across the 5 domains, this is ultimately just a workaround method, and as I've mentioned multiple times before, I have something to say. Let us meet shortly in Jian Myohun's quarters. With those words, she flies off to Jian Myohun's residence. Sensing her unsettled intent, I briefly explained to the taken-aback Heart Tribe before going to seek out Yon Wei. Ah, by the way, esteemed one CEO, Sir Kim Young-hoon is looking for you. Please inform Hyung Nim that I'll visit him shortly as well. There are some matters I must attend to first. To clear up Yon Wei's misunderstanding, I fly to Jian Myohun's quarters. Elder, are you here? Krieg. I enter Jian Myohun's quarters and find her. There, I meet the eyes of Yon Wei, kneeling submissively in the center of the room waiting for me. The unsettled look in her eyes has subsided. Hold on, Elder Yonwei. What are you doing? Please rise. That voice just now was only. The yell you let out just now was heard throughout the entire Middle Realm. It was only recently that the voice of that being from the Blood Yin realm struck the bright cold realm. How could I forget that sensation so quickly? She kneels before me humbly, then suddenly starts to remove my shoes and socks. Wait, you're misunderstanding. No, before that, what are you even? Then my mind goes blank at her continuing actions. Yonwei no longer looks up at me with trembling, anxious, hollow, or despair-filled eyes. Instead, she exudes an intent of her heart being completely at peace, carefully removing Jian Myonghun's shoes and setting them aside before lowering her head before my bare feet. Please do not address me as Elder, O Great One. I have spent much time in thought, and I have finally come to a conclusion. Now that the founder of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect is gone, our sect is left without his protection, and instead, only true immortal level beings with deep resentment against the founder remain. Yet, the Great One has always extended your support to help maintain the lineage of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. With a sincerely devoted intent directed towards me, she continues, her face bowed beside my feet. As the highest elder of the current Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, I humbly ask, from now on, the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect will become a sect devoted to serving the Great One. Therefore, I implore, please become the divine spirit that guards us in place of the founder. After finishing her words, she presses her lips to the top of my foot, repeating her plea. This foolish mortal humbly asks, please take pity on our Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Until the successor of the Golden Divine, Myonghun, fully matures, please protect us. I look up at the ceiling for a moment, rubbing my face with my hand. No matter how I explain it, she won't believe me anymore. She has reached a conclusion all on her own. Even if I were to cruelly torture her, say that I am Seo Yunhyan, not a true immortal. Or if I were to gently persuade her saying, I am not true immortal. On the surface, she might seem convinced, but deep down, she would still believe I am a true immortal and treat me as such. What should I do? I am Seo Yunhyan. I am not some true immortal, I am simply Seo Yunhyan. How exactly am I supposed to prove myself? I am. Raising Yonwei, who looks as if she's about to lick my feet, I say. Seo Yunhyan, I am not a true immortal. Yonwei listens to my words with utmost respect. No matter how you think of me, well, to be honest, if you don't know me, you wouldn't understand. I admit it. I may look like a true immortal at times, but regardless of what you think, I am not a true immortal. How? But I cut off her words and speak firmly. If you believe me to be a true immortal, then think of me that way. After all, I too aim to become a true immortal someday, and if that day ever comes, I won't forget the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. At my words, her eyes light up. Thank you so much. She bows down and continues to kiss my feet. Unable to forcibly stop her, I can only clear my throat and step back. Please stop, and I would appreciate it if you treated me as you used to. As you command. Thud. She answers, bowing her head with enough force to make a thud, and then steps back. Watching Yonwei's display, I sit in a lotus position in Jian Myonghun's quarters for a moment. Crag trackle. Gradually I feel it. My consciousness is once again reversing back to the lightning sacred sea, and this brief moment of divine descent is about to end. I speak into the void. Are you watching, Jian Myonghun? And immediately a reply comes. Yeah. When did you wake up? From the very beginning. It's just that until now I couldn't react inside you because the presence of your soul was so overwhelming. Should I say I was flat? Something like that. When you raised your consciousness to the immortal domain using my body to block the sacred master's attack, the intensity of the stimulus was so strong that I had no choice but to awaken forcefully. But thanks to you, I got to experience the immortal realm early. It wasn't bad. What do you think about Yonwei's behavior? What do you mean, what do I think? Just accept it. Our ancestor, after all, despite how often she misses the mark, does put in the effort in her own way. The problem is that she misses the mark far too often. That is true. I check on the awakened Jian Myonghun within me to see if he's all right, and he surprisingly doesn't seem to have any major issues. It seems that anyone who has mastered the red lightning heavenly tribulation method can maintain their consciousness and resist even during a divine descent. In this case, however, My consciousness is so overwhelming that Jian Myohun's consciousness was flattened without a chance to resist. So then what's the problem? Yonwei swore to follow you faithfully, didn't she? I just want her to treat me as me. Jian Myohun bursts into laughter inside me at that. Ha ha ha, how funny. What does it even mean to treat you as you? Well, that is. Are you asking to be treated as human Seo Yun Hyan? Give it up. That's impossible. Being treated like a human. Honestly, even reaching the chi building stage is enough to begin shedding that part. The moment one enters the path of immortal cultivation and surpasses the chi building stage, we are no longer humans but rather cultivators who resemble humans. Still, as a fellow sect member, I get what you're trying to say, but that's impossible too. This isn't just an issue of being a cultivator or the realm. It's because the subject is you. Just what about me? Do you want me to be blunt? Pajajik. As my presence starts being drawn back into the lightning sacred sea, Jian Myohun seems to regain some energy. He creates a clone with lightning in front of his body and speaks through it. You know, have been acting strange lately. That's because of the star-shattering stage. In star-shattering, the heart gradually transforms into attraction force. I explained to him about the realm of star-shattering, and after listening, Jian Myohun nods immediately. It's clear now. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with that kind of attraction force in the star-shattering stage. Just Seo Yun Hyan, it's about your fundamental state. My fundamental state. That's right, I'm talking about you. Honestly, as time goes by, you're paying more attention to your shoulders. It's not because your shoulders are an erogenous zone, or because you've learned some technique that makes them more sensitive, right? Of course not. The reason your shoulders have been getting more sensitive and why you keep focusing on them. In my perspective, it's because you're carrying too much weight on them. What? When I look at you, you know. He reaches toward my chest, pulling out the hand of Sohei from within and gently strokes it. Sometimes it seems like you're excessively abusing yourself. It feels like, because of the burdens you carry on your back, you're being crushed by the weight and dying a little each day. Fortunately, in the world of Pinglai Island, that world resembling the head realm, after you spoke with the reincarnation of Buk Hyung Hwa, you seem to have stopped some of that self-punishment. That's true. I heard from Beek Ran about how to forgive myself. Simultaneously, I extinguished the flames of abuse that had been tormenting me, capturing the starting point of my immortal art and completing crystal glass to treading sea. Back then, I forgave myself a lot. Yes, since then, your complexion has improved significantly, but... He strokes Zoe's hand and looks at me. Even if you've forgiven yourself, it seems you're still driving yourself too hard. What? It's exactly as I said. There's too much weighing on your shoulders. I'm saying you try to take responsibility for everything all by yourself. He speaks with a serious expression. Of course I understand. Honestly, the enders you mentioned. It's because among us enders you're the most capable. It's a good attitude to have. But because you put too much burden on your shoulders and push yourself too hard, at some point, it seems like you stopped caring about others' opinions and perspectives. Ancestor Yonwei's attitude also reflects this. Haven't you been judging her solely from your own perspective? It's not necessarily a bad thing. After all, the majority of our fates rest on your shoulders. But sometimes, listen to the views and perspectives of those weaker than you. I don't mean to pay attention or be considerate of the weak. He places Jin Sohei's hand down momentarily, then rises from his seat and puts his hand on my shoulder. I don't brush it off. It's not about paying attention to the weak. Just trust us a little more. I will always believe in you and follow you, but also remember that we too have our own perspectives, views, and the heart to be of help to you. That person has also found a solution that she believes will benefit us most, based on her own judgment. I'll think about it. Pajajake. It seems the duration of divine descent has reached its end. My consciousness scatters directly from inside Jian Myohun's body. Pazazasa. The sound of murmuring echoes from all directions. This is. I immediately recognize what they are. They are voices. The voices of those who have learned the lightning path method. Pajik Pajajik. I savor the sensation of lightning swirling inside my mind, identifying their identities. I see these are all those who were taught by Yang Sujin. Those who learned the wisdom of lightning from Yang Sujin and inherited his teachings. However, the majority are chi building stage and below. I see that time. The day the owner of heavenly punishment sought out Jingli and erased the golden divine heavenly thunder sect. The owner of heavenly punishment not only wiped out the golden divine heavenly thunder sect, but almost all those who had received Yang Sujin's teachings. The ones who survived were the extreme cases. Jian Myohun, with the highest talent among them, or unaffected by the owner of heavenly punishment's power due to their powerful strength, the few Devon Moriment's upper world. Kug. It seems a few of Yang Sujin's disciples, who are presumed to be true immortals, also survived. I erase their presence from my mind and survey others. Aside from the true immortals, the majority are below the Qi building stage. They were likely deemed unworthy of being killed directly by the owner of heavenly punishment. In other words, the vast majority of Yang Sujin's disciples remaining in this world are either at the Qi building stage or true immortals. The Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the Head Realm is unique. According to Yon Wei's occasional reports, it seems that in the Head Realm's Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, a few nascent soul cultivators have emerged, completely seizing dominance over the continent. With the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect controlling the Head Realm, it's likely that within a few years, they will gather the continent's resources and produce someone who will reach the heavenly being stage. I see. So in the lightning sacred sea, if someone who is thought to continue the golden divine heavenly thunder sects, or in essence, Yang Sujin's legacy, enters, they are given the chance to observe Yang Sujin's connections in the lightning sacred sea. I fully condense my consciousness and examine my surroundings. My surroundings are dark. I sense the attraction force around me shifting as some phenomenon approaches. While waiting for it to draw near, I reflect on my conversation with Jian Myohun. Compared to when we first came to Ascension Path, he really has changed a lot. Yes, I've definitely been thinking too much from my own perspective lately. Perhaps it's because I've experienced death too many times in such a short span. At times, I even confuse my own death with that of my comrades, and once, thinking that since I can endure the titles of true immortals, an entering nirvana true person naturally would be able to do so as well, I recklessly dropped the titles and names of true immortals like a bomb on Jinlu Gok, who had given me grace. The distinction between self Chinese letter and others Chinese letter has grown blurred through so many deaths. Because of that, I think I've become confused about the difference between the me I see and the me others see. While I simply see myself as myself, I might actually appear as an unfathomable monster from the perspective of someone ordinary like Yon Wei, something I had overlooked. I compress the heavenly rain great star and insert it into my incarnation body, taking on a human form. Clench. I hold my head and make a bitter expression. That's something I don't want. Yon Wei's relationship with me isn't deep enough for her attitude to wound me greatly. But if I look at it objectively, this incident is no different from what happened with Qingmun Ryong. The incident of someone who was once my master in a past life, beginning to address me as senior or Taoist from the next life. Starting from Buk Hyang Hwa and Qingmun Ryong, how many of my precious ones have called me senior or elder. As time flows, I naturally grow stronger, but others can only live in time that is separate from my own. I bury my face in my hands. Regression is indeed a powerful authority. But, at the same time, it's also an incredibly dreadful curse. Because as long as I have this ability, I must live forever in fear of becoming someone too high in the eyes of those dear to me. My strongest hope is simply life. It's something I've thought about continuously since the early cycles in the head realm. What I desire most is life. A single, proper life, where I fear death, and even if I die, time does not rewind and my connections don't disappear. If my life were to be built on desire, then someday I might find myself muttering something unfunny like, life is essentially life. As much as that, for me, whose meaning of life diminishes with each reversal of time, life has become something that I desperately crave for. Desperately craving for life, I have to pour all my strength into giving meaning to each life. For that reason, I want at least my comrades to see me as I am. Because even if time reverses, at least they stay by my side. But countless connections, starting with Qingmun Ryong and Buk Hyang Hwa, and now even Yon Wei, those who once stood beside me are beginning to look at me with fear. In this situation, what am I supposed to do? It's not about paying attention to the weak. Just trust us a little more. I will always believe in you and follow you. But also remember that we, too, have our own perspectives, views, and the heart to be of help to you. That person has also found a solution that she believes will benefit us most, based on her own judgment. Are you asking me to trust you, Jian Myohoon? I recall Jian Myohoon's words. And as I think of those who stay beside me, even within my backward flow of my time, I pull myself from my gloomy heart essence. Yes, I suppose there's no other choice. I dislike it when the reactions of those beside me change. I just want them to treat me as I am. But that's impossible unless I go as far as brainwashing them. As I grow stronger naturally, their thoughts and perspectives towards me have no choice but to change. I've always told Jian Myohoon to trust and follow me. When I think about it, rather than just dragging them along by saying, this time too, and ending it there, perhaps I should have trusted them better. Even if I find it unsatisfactory, their views and thoughts about me, I decide to trust their attitude towards me. Because they too are trusting me in their own way. Kurung kururung. Thunder roars, and before my eyes, a massive creature resembling a hummingbird appears. A hummingbird the size of the moon, its entire body composed of lightning. The moment I see it, I feel as if my main body is about to burst apart, and I sense lightning striking throughout the atmosphere of my main body. Who is the distinguished one? The hummingbird flaps its wings at a speed surpassing lightning, watching me for a moment. Then it shrinks to the size of my palm, and standing in front of me, it begins cutting through the darkness. It seems to be telling me to follow. I follow the hummingbird, tearing through the space of darkness. After a while, I emerge from the darkness, arriving at a place resembling a peach blossom spring. A world where all kinds of rare and beautiful flowers are in full bloom, where wine springs forth like water everywhere, and flowers and trees emit beautiful sounds of music. The hummingbird leads me to a pavilion at the center of this world. In front of the pavilion, there is a small pond, and in that pond stands a 100-story stone pagoda densely covered with carvings like sesame seeds. The pagoda has many layers, but its overall size is only about the height of an adult man. What is that pagoda? Feeling a strange flow emanating from the pagoda, I follow the hummingbird into the pavilion. Just then, the hummingbird that had guided me here now transforms into a small human girl with platinum blonde hair. She is dressed in a robe made of golden lightning, standing with her pristinely white and clean bare feet, offering her greetings from above within the pavilion. Surug. She opens her mouth in front of me. However, without uttering a sound, she only moves her lips. Since I know how to read lips, I can understand her meaning even without hearing her voice. Welcome to the inner depths of the lightning sacred sea, the management space, young master. And who is the distinguished one? I am the attendant concubine and pet of the golden divine, immortal beast golden shaking bird, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. As for my true name and title, as young master cannot withstand my rank and hearing it could drive young master mad, I will not reveal it at this time. I look at golden shaking bird, feeling tense. Why have you brought me here? It is because young master has rightfully inherited the legacy of the golden divine. The golden divine instructed that if someone who has completed the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique appears, this management space of the lightning sacred sea should be gifted to them. Hearing this, I speak with a joyful expression. Oh, in that case, since I'm here, I'd like to take with me the symbols of the 5 middle realms that are said to be in the lightning sacred sea. However, golden shaking bird chuckles at my words and covers her mouth. I apologize for my rudeness, however, you cannot take them from here. What, why not? Because a lightning sacred sea is merely the passage leading to the space where the symbols of the 5 middle realms are located. It is not the place where they actually reside. The golden divine's treasure vault is located separately. The very purpose of the lightning sacred sea's existence is merely to serve as a pathway to escape anywhere within Mount Sumeru, should those like young master arrive one day. Mount Sumeru. Those who attain the rank of immortality often refer to the 3,000 great thousand worlds as Mount Sumeru. There is no need to know right now. Understood. In any case, the true power of the lightning sacred sea is to function as an emergency passageway. That is correct. Good. Then, through that power, I'd like to transfer the living beings of the sun and moon heavenly domain to another domain when the end occurs here. Chuckle. Once again, Golden Shaking Bird laughs and shakes her head. I apologize, but that is impossible. As the lightning sacred sea is a labyrinth the golden divine created to escape from the heavenly punishment supreme deity, only someone acknowledged by the golden divine who can wield the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique like young master is able to use it. What? Of course, if the golden divine were to revive, sufficiently master the red lightning heavenly tribulation method, and return, these usage conditions could be changed. But that is probably impossible. She looks somewhere with a somewhat bittersweet and longing expression. It seems she misses Yang Sujin quite deeply. Hearing her words, I smile inwardly to myself. I'll just bring Jian Myohun back here later. If it's him, he could surely change Golden Shaking Bird's mind. Well then, for now, I've settled the fundamental issue regarding the lightning sacred sea. I should handle the remaining matters. Even if I were to transport the living beings of the sun and moon, heavenly domain's astral realm to another domain, I still need to find the symbols of the 5 middle realms. I speak to Golden Shaking Bird. Then, for now, open the path to Yang Sujin's treasure vault. I need to acquire the divine artifacts of the 5 middle realms. At this, Golden Shaking Bird shakes her head wildly with a slightly unnerved expression. That too is impossible. Why are there so many restrictions? I am truly sorry. However, if the Golden Divine's treasure vault were to be improperly handled by someone who has risen to the immortal seat, they could end up like the heavenly lightning banner, trapped in a place of misfortune. It's too frightening to meddle with. Therefore, instead of me opening the door, it would be more suitable for young master to overcome the trial and enter the treasure vault. Understood. So then, how do I go about receiving this trial? In response to my question, Golden Shaking Bird points outside the pavilion, towards the pond. The stone pagoda in that pond. That pagoda is called the Tower of Trials, and within it are trials ranging from the chi refining stage up to the entering nirvana stage. If you break through the pagoda and reach the topmost level, not only will you naturally gain access to the Golden Divine's treasure vault, but you will also be able to control the lightning sacred sea even more powerfully. Understood. I shall proceed as suggested. I observe Golden Shaking Bird for a moment, and since she doesn't seem to harbor any malice, I decide to follow her words. The Tower of Trials resets all progress once one enters and exits. However, since young master is here, I will make a special effort to ensure that progress can be saved from the last level reached, instead of starting from the beginning. Good, then open the door so I can enter the Tower of Trials. I approach the pond and speak. And at that moment, Golden Shaking Bird gives me a hard push on the waist with her pristine white foot from behind. You just need to step right in. Splash. Without a chance to resist, I'm shoved by her foot and fall into the pond. Urk. Recalling the feel of Golden Shaking Bird's foot just now, a thought suddenly comes to mind. Did Yang Sujin capture Jingli because of her soft feet? Somehow, the thought that only true immortal rank beings with clean feet are around Yang Sujin crosses my mind. Chua. With such thoughts in mind, I sink deeper into the water. Splash. Emerging from the water, I look around my surroundings. This place. It's the same hot spring-like world I visited last time. Wujuduk. I manipulate attraction force to pierce a hole in the world. Then I move on to the next world beyond the hot spring world. The next world is a place where the light is extremely dim, almost completely shrouded in darkness. As I sweep through with the consciousness of the star-shattering stage, I find it's a world where fruits and flowers made of protein bloom. It seems this is where Jang Ik had picked up that meat apple. Simultaneously upon entering this world, a marker enters the rage of my attraction force. First floor. It seems the hot spring world was like a waiting area, and this is where the Tower of Trials actually begins. However, there doesn't seem to be anything like a trial here. The star-shattering expedition team must have already cleared this trial. Most likely, the expedition team is stationed on the upper floors. Kurururung. Once again, I manipulate attraction force and break through to the next floor. Second floor, third floor, fourth floor. 27th floor, 28th floor, 29th floor, 30th floor. 40th floor, 50th floor, 60th floor, 80th floor. Finally, when I reach the 95th floor. Kagagugugu. I find myself in a place resembling outer space and survey my surroundings. As I try to pierce through the space with attraction force, a counterforce appears, restoring the space. This must be an uncleared floor, then the expedition team should be here. I extend my consciousness domain and begin to explore into the distant reaches. Then beyond the cosmic space, I see a colossal entity being pursued by several beings. Quajijijijic. It's a beetle the size of a satellite. The beetle, scattering golden lightning, flies toward me, thrusting its mandibles in my direction. It seems intent on splitting me apart. But in the next moment, the three great ultimates rise behind my back. Weaving. The three great ultimates begin to spin, and I reach out towards the lightning beetle. Quajijic. The beetle's mandibles are caught in my hand. I tighten my grip on the beetle, and after a moment it bursts apart and dies. Quang. In the place where the beetle exploded and died, a small golden fragment remains. I reach out and grab the golden fragment. Simultaneously, I become aware through my attraction force that I can now proceed to the next floor. It seems this creature was the master of this floor. And it's when I've caught the floor's master. Flash. A group of esteemed ones with vast presences assembles around me. There are a total of 21 of them. Among them, I smile slightly when glancing at a green-hued figure before turning to observe the rest of the esteemed ones. Greetings, seniors. This unworthy junior is Seo Yunhyan, a star-shattering esteemed one who has recently emerged from the bright cold realm and a practitioner of the human race. I have come here under the guidance of the sacred master to assist in the conquest of the lightning sacred sea. I hope you will allow me to be of assistance. Then, amidst my polite greeting, an unexpected voice shouts in fury. You filthy thing, are you that human race madman? Pardon? I turn my head, and there, a star-shattering stage esteemed one who appears to be from the tall tree race is glaring at me with a face flushed red. You've come well, you son of a scoundrel, you dare to defile my sacred master. I'll rip your main body to shreds and scatter it across heaven and earth. There seems to be a misunderstanding, Taoist. And besides, why is sacred master Beak Woon your sacred master? Silence, I have nothing to explain to a molester like you. Esteemed ones of the bright cold realm, let us all attack this vile menace. At his words, several esteemed ones from the bright cold realm surround me. Look here, Taoists, why are you all following the words of this tall tree race Taoist? There's no point in exhausting ourselves here in pointless conflict. How about moving on and tackling the next floor quickly? However, an esteemed one of the yellow dragon race speaks, their eyes gleaming. There's no use denying it, evil breed. Everyone here has already heard that you tortured the sacred master and provided the opportunity for the owner of the blood yin realm to descend upon the bright cold realm. You are no better than a traitor to the bright cold realm. Standing beside them, a fighting ghost race esteemed one flexes their muscles and grins. Torturing the sacred master, just how powerful are you? And on top of that, a member of the Heart tribe. I'm already looking forward to how exciting it will be when we fight. TL, a reminder that excited can also mean aroused. It seems they are divided. Those who simply want to fight me, and those who resent me for allegedly torturing the sacred master and enabling the descent of blood yin. But it doesn't end there. Heh. I don't like allying with those from the bright cold realm, but if it means I can legally beat down on a human race, I'm more than willing to join anytime. The esteemed ones from the true devil realm also join in, encircling me. Our ancient force realm has business with him as well. We need to find out why he's been issued an exile order from Sacred Master He Lin. After assisting with the capture, we will handle the interrogation. The esteemed ones of the ancient force realm surround me for an absurd reason. Adding to that, the esteemed ones of the bright cold realm address the remaining esteemed ones who are standing back and just watching. Look here, purple gold realm Taoists and mountains and rivers Taoists. If you assist us in capturing this one, we will make it worth your while. Please lend us your aid. Purple gold realm esteemed ones and mountains and rivers esteemed ones also surround me. TL, mountains and rivers as in miscellaneous factions, hermits, etc. I might have translated it as independent or hermit in the past, but I'll be using mountains and rivers from now on. I observe the esteemed ones encircling me. 5 from the bright cold realm. 3 from the true devil realm. 4 from the ancient force realm. 4 from the purple gold realm. 4 mountains and rivers esteemed ones roaming the astral realm. A total of 20 esteemed ones have encircled me. As I observe the esteemed ones around me, I notice the only one who hasn't joined the ranks of the attackers. I look at heaven collapsing, esteemed one Jang Ik and say, "This disciple Seo Yunhyan has seen Master." Good. But will Master not be joining in the joint attack? The esteemed one's eyes widen when I address Jang Ik as my master, and they all start watching him warily. However, Jang Ik lays down in the cosmic space and closes his eyes as if he has no interest. Anyway, I heard you either killed or put into a comatose state all my top disciples. For now, wait. I'm drained from clearing this floor, so know that I'll face you when I'm in my best condition. I'm going to sleep for a bit. All of you, handle things as you see fit until I wake up. After saying this, Jang Ik adjusts the surrounding environment, ensuring that no one can approach his vicinity, and falls asleep just like that. With looks of relief, the esteemed ones collectively let out sighs of relief. It's a relief that heaven collapsing hasn't betrayed us. So he isn't on your side either, human wretch. Blame your fate. They begin tightening their encirclement. And I smirk. Oh dear, that's the wrong answer. Wrong answer. I speak to the one who seems to represent them, the yellow dragon race esteemed one. It's not that Jang Ik didn't betray you. Rather, he should have joined forces with you to pressure me. Looks like you're relying on something because he's your master. Alright, that's enough. Let's cut the chit-chat. Why don't you come at me? To be honest, even I am somewhat curious about the extent of my own abilities. Since reaching the star-shattering stage, all my opponents have been beings like Blood Yin, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, Sacred Master Beak Woon who merged with the Bright Cold Realm, and the entering Nirvana quasi-immortal Jinlugok, each of them far above my level. I need an objective assessment of my strength. In that sense, the 20 star-shattering stage esteemed ones have shown up at just the right time. Among the esteemed ones who seem incredulous at my declaration, one esteemed one from the purple gold realm lets out an enraged shout and charges at me. Arrogant fool! The colorless glass sword bursts forth from within my body. Wujuduk! With the power of crystal glass to treading sea, my right hand holding the colorless glass sword transforms into glass true fire, merging with the colorless glass sword. The three great ultimates appear, and I merge with the sword, raise it and slash. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Ascending vein. Tugwing. The energy of the three great ultimates flows into the sword, sending the purple gold realm esteemed one tearing through the space and up to the next floor. Quang quang quang. Even after piercing through the next floor, the purple gold realm esteemed one continues to break through the subsequent floors above. The 96th, 97th, 98th, and 99th floors are pierced through all at once. From these 4 floors, powerful presences surge down upon the 95th floor. The owners of those presences all express their anger at me for recklessly punching holes through their floors. Enveloping myself in glass true fire, I take out my main body and begin transforming it. Crystal glass to treading sea. Full release, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Origin star, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Combat technique form, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Open. My origin star changes, taking on a combat-optimized form. The glass true fire envelops the entirety of my origin star. I distort attraction force and place Hong Fan and Seo Ran, who are within the origin star, into a suitable alternate space, then transform my body. Hwaruruk. The glass true fire blazes across the entire origin star, reshaping its form. As the origin star compresses, I assume the appearance of human Seo Yunhyan. Glass true fire blankets my entire body, transforming into the robes of immortals, with parts of the flames trailing down my back to form winged garments. As my consciousness accelerates, part of it reaches the immortal domain. From within the flames of glass, I look down upon the esteemed ones with arrogance and speak. Comeatme. Chapter 480, Esteemed One's Power. Zilling. As the will emanates from the realm of immortal domain, the esteemed ones all shudder where they stand as though struck by a powerful shock. However, Gal Chinese letter. At the thunderous roar of the yellow dragon race esteemed one, everyone quickly regains their senses. It seems you indeed have the skill to torture the sacred master, but it's still not enough. Huarururuk. In the expanse of space, the body of a yellow dragon ignites in flames. Simultaneously, I can see 6 stars within them. So they completed the heavenly inner diagram great star. They're in the late star-shattering stage. In the star-shattering stage, the number of stars naturally divides the ream into early, middle, and late. If only the heavenly rain great star is created, it's the early stage. Heavenly rain, heavenly clearing, heavenly cloudiness, heavenly want of connection, and heavenly crossing. Up to 5 stars is the middle stage. Beyond that, if one succeeds in attaching oneself to a larger planet for cultivation and gaining enlightenment on attraction force, then successfully creating the heavenly inner diagram great star, one reaches the late stage. Finally, upon creating the 7th star, the heavenly outer diagram great star, by drawing in the energy of the entire universe through attraction force, one reaches the grand perfection star shattering stage. Kagagugu. The 6 stars of the yellow dragon are linked to each other, exchanging star veins and amplifying their power. Then, at the peak of that power, flash, a dragon wave erupts from their mouth. In an instant, the cosmic space lights up. In the midst of this intense heat and light, I am momentarily reminded of the phenomena extinguishing mantra of the great mountain supreme deity. Very good. Heaven above and heaven below are filled solely with the golden dragon wave. From within it, I surge forth glass true fire and smile brightly. Even if I go a little rough, it won't break them. Kagagugu. The bright cold realm's yellow dragon race esteemed one. As Jai Waljin spews a dragon wave from their mouth, they furrow their brows. I did expect this much because they said he's a madman who tortured the sacred master, but truly terrifying indeed. Dujajujajudo. Beyond the dragon wave, they catch sight of a monstrosity slowly breaking through and click their tongue inwardly. From what I heard, he joined hands with the golden divine successor to exploit the sacred master's injury, so I thought he was merely someone who targeted others' weaknesses, but no. This man is a veteran of many battles who has cut through brutal battlefields, overcoming opponents stronger than himself to make it this far. R. Grasping the essence of Seo Yun Hyan, at a glance, Waljin signals to the other esteemed ones. Recognizing Waljin's signal, the esteemed ones adopt serious expressions and begin to draw upon their full power. He's a monster. Everyone, do not let your guard down. Crush him with your full power. As everyone are individuals capable of foreseeing the future and discerning the wisdom of time and space, none gathered here underestimate Seo Yun Hyan. 3 esteemed ones from the purple gold realm advance to the next floor. The 99th, 98th, 97th, and 96th floors have already been breached, and the monstrous beings of each floor are currently emitting murderous intent towards Seo Yun Hyan. It would be nice if the Taoists of the Nether Ghost Realm were here. It can't be helped. They all suddenly fell into madness and fled somewhere. There's no time to lament those who are absent. They each ascend a floor, beginning to guide the minds of the floor masters who radiate killing intent towards Seo Yun Hyan. The masters of each floor start to fix their gazes on Seo Yun Hyan. Wuduk. From within Waljin's dragon wave, a hand emerges. It is a hand made of flames of glass. Wujujuduk. As the hand breaks through the dragon wave, it gradually tears it apart, creating an exit pathway. Finally, when he tears out from Waljin's dragon wave, flash, Waljin stops emitting the dragon wave and quickly retreats. The spot he vacated from is filled by the esteemed ones of the ancient force realm. 4 esteemed ones of the ancient force realm. See Sinking esteemed 1, Y Muchin. Red Tide esteemed 1, J-O-Y. Salt Sea esteemed 1, Yuk Jung. Great Pulse esteemed 1, Saha. They are the esteemed ones of the Sea King race, that is He Lin's collateral bloodline, the Red Shark race, the Sea Dragon race, and the Iron Crab race respectively. So you're the one they say brought Blood Yin, that bastard, and wrecked the bright cold realm. Kwang. Salt Sea esteemed 1, Yuk Jung. The esteemed one of the Sea Dragon race descends towards Seo Yun Hyan in a half-human, half-dragon form and speaks. Seo Yun Hyan raises one arm to block Yuk Jung's foot and looks up at him. Yuk Jung grins widely and says, I couldn't care less about the exile order or whatever from Sacred Master He Lin, but just the fact that you aided that retarded immortal Blood Yin is reason enough to be your enemy. Demon ability. 300 million Jin Deep Sea Star. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Kagagugu. Droplet by droplet, A massive sphere of water forms around Seo Yun Hyan, each drop containing a weight of 300 million jin. At first, the water sphere seems to evaporate as it contacts the glass true fire, but it quickly grows in size, soon reaching a planetary scale. Seo Yun Hyan is caught in the center of the planet-sized sea, feeling immense attraction forces compressing his body and the crushing pressure of the water from all sides. Perish. Pazazazasa. Pure white light bursts forth from various points within the sea of the 300 million Jin deep sea star. The salt in the sea emits light, transforming into a form of power on the plane of Qi. Salt sea flooding the heavens esoteric method, Chinese letter. There is a legend in the ancient force realm. When the legendary divine skill, salt sea returning due Jade, is mastered, it is said to grant supremacy of the ancient force realm in one's hand. Yuk Jung once exterminated an esoteric cult in the ancient force realm and killed its chief law protector, obtaining a technique from the law protector's corpse. That technique became their innate true method, and is also derived from a portion of Salt Sea returning due Jade's formula. It is the peerless divine skill, Salt Sea flooding the heavens esoteric method. Behold, this is the pinnacle of esoteric methods honed over tens of thousands of years to kill blood yin and ya eum. Salt Sea flooding the heavens esoteric method. Korvirung. The entirety of the summoned 300 million Jin deep sea star shines pure white and explodes. The floor in the form of cosmic spacequakes, piercing holes into the very fabric of space. Waljin shouts at Yuk Jung. Yuk Jung, what are you doing making a hole in the Tower of Trials? Yuhaha, who cares? Now's not the time to worry about that trivial stuff. Then, in the midst of the pure white light exploded by Yuk Jung's salt sea, flooding the heavens esoteric words, a shadow begins to shimmer. Shia. As the light fades, a round crystal rests at the center of the explosion, as if sitting like an egg. Crack. In the next moment, the crystal shatters and Seo Yun Hyan bursts forth from within. Not bad. If what you learned was at the level of Salt Sea returning due Jade, it could have been dangerous. Then he smirks. So is it my turn now? Huarurururuk. The glass true fire on Seo Yun Hyan's entire body flares up even more fiercely. He appears completely unaffected by Yuk Jung's recent attack. Launch a full assault, don't give him any opportunities. Why Muchin from the Sea King races cries out. At the same time, the esteemed ones of the ancient force realm pour their most powerful attacks towards Seo Yun Hyan once more. Seo Yun Hyan forms hand seals. Crystal glass to treading sea star. Sword sea star bod. Ch Wararak. The glass true fire blazing on his body transforms. Each fire fragment of the glass true fire turns into a sword, whirling wildly around him. At the same time, Seo Yun Hyan's hand begins to transform. Huarurururuk. His hand transforms completely into glass true fire and merges perfectly with the colorless glass sword that emerges from the void. The next instant, Tayet. The attraction force in the area twists violently, and Seo Yun Hyan leaps towards the esteemed ones of the ancient force realm. Outside the lightning sacred sea. There, everything remains calm, appearing just as it would under normal circumstances. And the four colossal beings surrounding the lightning sacred sea each let out a sigh. They are the esteemed ones of the nether ghost realm. You all felt it too, didn't you? I felt it. A reaper of the netherworld has undergone divine descent upon the lightning sacred sea. Hey, Black Ghost Palace brat, say something. At our level, everyone knows your lot are just lackeys of the underworld, so just why did a reaper suddenly descend upon the lightning sacred sea? How would I know? And you call us lackeys of the underworld, but we're only the bottom of the bunch. We've never even glimpsed the real ship of the underworld. All we managed to do is glimpse the shadows to barely replicate the nether crossing ship. If a reaper suddenly descends, just what am I supposed to do about it? Feeling the terrifying aura of death that had just descended upon the lightning sacred sea, they bicker among themselves. And just then, something begins to register in their foresight. Chuea. Reaper, it's a reaper. A reaper is descending. Kia, run. I can't die yet. Please forgive me, please forgive me. Seeing the scenes that unfold in their foresight, they all tremble in terror and leap to various parts of the universe, disappearing entirely. And immediately after they flee, Quang, the dimensional barrier of the lightning sacred sea, explodes apart as a colossal slash erupts outward. From within that slash, 20 esteemed ones emerge, glancing inside with expressions of horror. Why are you all acting like this? Didn't you say you would capture me? Come then, try capturing me. I'm not running away. Dujujujudo. Something strides forward from within. At the same time, the fabric of space begins to tremble. And the 3 esteemed ones of the true devil realm watching him. Black Fog esteemed 1, Omu. Violent Cliff esteemed 1, Tichiok. Star-seeking esteemed 1, Yoan. The Black Smoke race, whose body transforms into dark smoke. The Dark Ape race, descendants of the immortal beast mountain-destroying demon ape. The Batwing race, who have bat wings. The 3 esteemed ones begin to use their devilish arts. TSSA. A mist of curses spreads around, starting to bind Seo Yun Hyan. Violent Cliff esteemed 1 Tichiok charges at Seo Yun Hyan and throws a punch, while Star-seeking esteemed 1 Yoan, in the form of a young girl, opens her mouth wide behind him. Then Seo Yun Hyan releases his glass true fire. Crystal glass to treading sea star. Heavenly shatter star bod. A pair of wings appears behind the glass true fire. The wings forged from flames of glass seem to reflect both the vast sky and the starry night alternatively. The pair of wings seems to absorb into Seo Yun Hyan's arms, and he extends his hand towards Violent Cliff, esteemed 1 Tichiok. Jaejeong. What? Violent Cliff esteemed 1's eyes widen in shock. In the next moment, he lets out a crazed scream and pulls back from Seo Yun Hyan. A glass-colored flame clings to his hand. Seo Yun Hyan reaches out his hand towards Star-seeking esteemed 1, who is opening her mouth to swallow him. Crystal glass to treading sea star. Twin flowers reaching the heavens. Yin soul flame. Huarurururuk. The dark glass true fire enters the mouth of Star-seeking esteemed 1, and shortly after, she immediately closes her mouth and struggles in agony. The following instant, Seo Yun Hyan watches the black smoke covering him and lets out a sneer. This thing dares to scatter curses in the presence of this esteemed 1. Black Fog esteemed 1 meets Seo Yun Hyan's gaze. They hurriedly read the celestial energy and calculate the optimal future. Then they are stunned with shock. In every future they see, the only outcome is themselves, screaming like mad in agony. I'll teach you properly. Kagagugugu. The glass true fire begins rotating around Seo Yun Hyan. Crystal glass to treading sea. Avisai Hill star bod. The glass true fire turns black. Simultaneously, the now darkened glass true fire envelops Seo Yun Hyan's entire body. Black Fog esteemed 1, having stared at the dyed black Seo Yun Hyan, feels their eyeballs explode. Hua. They are struck with terror and flee. For an esteemed 1 to simply look at a curse and have their eyes explode. This means that the being before them, at least in terms of curses, might be an entity infinitely close to a true immortal. You can't escape. Crystal glass to treading sea. Avisai Hill star body. Sword sea star body. Seo Yun Hyan's hand once again merges with the colorless glass sword. He swings the colorless glass sword, now ablaze with black flame, Chinese letter. Subheart sword. Transcending mountain ridge embedment. The curse of the Avisai Hell star body, channeled through the inescapable transcending mountain ridge embedment, lodges together directly into the Black Fog esteemed 1. The fleeing Black Fog esteemed 1 lets out a terrifying scream, loud enough to echo throughout the entire Neri star system, before turning into a star on the spot. Having endured too much pain in a short period, their mind momentarily fell apart. No matter what, I can't let you go easily. Huaruruk. His body shifts from black flame back to ordinary glass-colored flames. Simultaneously, Seo Yun Hyan extends both hands towards the other esteemed ones who are charging at him ferociously. Crystal glass to treading sea. Mysterious bizarre star bod. Thousands of strands of glass true fire spread out in all 4 directions from Seo Yun Hyan's body. Don't block it, evade. Under the lead of Waljin, the esteemed ones of the bright cold realm all evade, but the 2 remaining esteemed ones from the true devil realm and the ancient force realm blood shark race esteemed 1 Jaya Y get hit by the flame. In that instant, glass true fire begins inscribing circuits onto their bodies. Qarg. Huqaa. Combining the spell of the mysterious bizarre goo and the circuits of the Mad Lord, a technique that instantly turns those struck into puppets for manipulation, hits the 3 esteemed ones. Star-Seeking Esteemed 1, Violent Cliff Esteemed 1, and Red Tide Esteemed 1. The three Esteemed Ones scream as they instantly fall under the control of Seo Yun Hyan and charge towards the other Esteemed Ones. The Esteemed Ones of the Ancient Force Realm and the Bright Cold Realm, and the Esteemed Ones of the Purple Gold Realm, who had gone to control the monsters of the upper floors, now reveal themselves. The Master of the 96th Floor. A Thunder Corpse, Chinese letter, at the Grand Perfection Star, shattering stage charges at Seo Yun Hyan under the control of a Purple Gold Realm Esteemed One. The Master of the 97th Floor, a Thunder Peng, Chinese letter, at the Sacred Vessel level, flaps its wings, scattering a storm imbued with lightning, while the Master of the 98th Floor, a Thunder Bear, Chinese letter, begins gathering nearby nebulae, preparing for a supernova explosion. Crystal Glass to Treading Sea. When painting Star Body, Chinese letter. Interstellar Wind begins to blow. Summoning Wind Dragon Transformation, Great Desert to Dead Sea, and others. The authority of wind painting Star Body, which combines methods that manipulate wind and attraction force, controls the interstellar wind through attraction force. Kagagugu. A tornado arises in the universe. Glass True Fire mixes with the interstellar wind, scattering everywhere. The thunder beasts of the Tower of Trials, struck by the Glass True Fire, all begin to howl in rage. Not only are their spells disrupted by the interstellar wind, but the Glass True Fire brings a stinging pain to their bodies that seems almost unbearable. Then Seo Yun Hyan forms a hand seal. Crystal Glass to Treading Sea. Avicii Hill Star Body. The Glass True Fire covering their bodies all at once transforms into a black-colored fire, imbued with all of Seo Yun Hyan's pain. As soon as the thunder beasts are struck by the black-colored flames, they scream, losing their minds from the pain, and start fleeing far from the lightning sacred sea. When the energy of the lightning sacred sea breaks, the thunder beasts disintegrate in unison. Seo Yun Hyan smirks as he looks at the remaining Esteemed Ones. Now, only 5 Esteemed Ones from the Bright Cold Realm remain in place. Of the Yellow Dragon race, Opening Heaven Esteemed 1 Waljin. Of the Horned Ox race, Flattening Heaven Esteemed 1 Hamrak. Of the Rotting Owl race, Safe Heaven Esteemed 1 Guairo. Of the Tall Tree race, Slaughtering Heaven Esteemed 1 Juk Guang. Of the Fighting Ghost race, Final Heaven Esteemed 1 Jin Waryong. Then Juk Guang of the Tall Tree race draws a silver-blue sword from their waist and shouts, "I am a devotee of the Great Light." Payet. A silver-white light surrounds them. Have you ever heard of this name? At Juk Guang's cry, the other Bright Cold Realm Esteemed Ones immediately seal their hearing. The 5th seat of the Radiant's 8 Immortals, Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. Invoking the name of a true immortal, Juk Guang pours all the silver-white light into their sword. Using the name of a true immortal as an attack, they enlarge the silver-blue sword. Wowung. The silver-blue giant sword appears in the cosmic space. O Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, please grant strength to your devotee. The divine light of the sword seems to illuminate the entire universe. No matter how strong that one is, how could he stand unscathed before the name of a divine spirit? No, even if he somehow remains unharmed, how could he ever stand against the might of the divine spirit itself? With a majestic and unshaken manner, they pray for the protection of the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, the divine spirit they serve. O divine spirit, please bestow your protection upon me. Like a priest offering a sacrifice, they extend both arms towards the divine light. In the next moment, the divine light of the sword begins to converge upon Seo Yun Hyan. Payet. A space of light. Seo Yun Hyan feels as though he might be overwhelmed as he stares at the massive being standing before him. This is a Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. Before his eyes is a giant. No, it isn't just any giant. A silver-white monster. A colossal god dressed in ancient immortal robes, wearing a Mayan gun crown on its head and a mask of silver white on its face. As Seo Yun Hyan gazes at this being, he feels as if he is staring at a blade clothed in human skin. The being, whose face is obscured, looks down at Seo Yun Hyan. From this being emanates an endless sense of despair, an aura of overwhelming power and awe. I can't endure this. Seo Yun Hyan's entire body trembles, as though his mind is melting like wax. No, it can't end here. Yet he does not crumble. In this encounter that feels eternal, he clings to his consciousness until the end, maintaining his composure as he performs a respectful gesture. Greetings to the Great One. It's when Seo Yunhyan shows his respect. The colossal being speaks. As expected, I want to make you mine even at this very moment. The being continues. I want to chew you up, to bite and tear you apart. I want to steal that sword will and gaze upon it in ecstasy. I want to grind you into pieces and see what emerges. I want to pulverize your entire body into powder and drink it while watching if you still pursue the sword. I want to know how far your sword can reach. I want to strangle you until you cry helplessly and drop the sword from your hands. I want to embed my sword all over your body and impart my swordsmanship to you. I want to give you hope that your sword can surpass mine, and then watch as that hope shatters. I want to shatter your sword into pieces before your very eyes and force you to eat it. I want to break, snap, and crush your sword and give you terror to the point that you can never look at the sword again. At the same time, a voice dripping with obsession, almost sadistic in its intensity. At last, Seo Yunhyan, unable to bear it any longer, looks up at the being before him. Quajuduk. Blades of all kinds sprout from Seo Yunhyan's body and begin to devour him. But he doesn't falter, he stares directly at the being. Even if it means suffering from confronting this great being, it's a determination to say what must be said. My apologies, but... Interrupting the being's words, he utters a low, forceful declaration. The sword is already myself. Therefore, unless you break me, you cannot break my sword. And, as I am not composed of just myself, you will never be able to break just me. At those words, the silver-white being brings its massive face closer to Seo Yunhyan, filled with sadistic delight. Seo Yunhyan feels the pressure of something akin to a galactic cluster approaching right in front of him. Then, how about tearing apart what is precious to you and crushing it before your eyes, repeating this 100 billion times? Do you even know what is precious to me? Wuduk wujuduk. Seo Yunhyan is being swallowed by the blades. Swords, spears, arrows, and countless other war weapons grow from his entire body, devouring him. Yet even as his very being is consumed, even as excruciating pain floods his entire body, he does not retreat and shouts firmly. What is it? It is everything. Everything. Yes, every moment I have lived, am living, and will live. Each and every single moment is what is most precious to me. He briefly closes his eyes. Perhaps Juk Guang of the tall tree race played a trick, for he found himself dropped into this space. However, he is not particularly afraid. It is not because the being before him reveals some sadistic fascination with him. Through encounters with Great Mountain, Yong Seung and Blood Yin has already experienced dreadful and extreme pain and despair. For that reason, when it comes to pain, he is no longer afraid of anything in all phenomena. What's truly frightening is not that, what's frightening is. It is when the deepest, most fundamental part of his heart gets broken. It is when the very existence of the preciousness of life itself, that has sustained the being known as Seo Yunhyan, gets shattered. It is when my heart breaks. As long as his heart does not break, there is nothing to fear. Thinking this, Seo Yunhyan opens his mouth. I am most grateful for life and consider it the most precious. Therefore, you cannot destroy what is precious to me, because even you are included in what is precious to me. At his words, the silver-white colossal god pauses and looks at him. How arrogant! Seo Yunhyan only smiles in silence. Arrogant, and even more arrogant. Have you perhaps inherited traces from those arrogant mountains? Indeed, it seems I must pin you beneath me, pierce your body with swords, and watch as you wail for my urge can be satisfied. Yet, even so, still. Sururuk, the silver-white colossal god, dissolves into pure white light and disappears. Seo Yunhyan feels something like the soft touch of slender jade-like fingers stroking him from behind. Pazasasa, the sword sprouting from his body, melt away in an instant. I want to see your sword surpass mine. Eschuela. With those words, the silver-white monster, the will of the sword spear, heavenly lord, vanishes from the space. At the same time, Seo Yunhyan feels the entire world of light, composed of divine sword radiance, seep into his body. When he comes to his senses, he is once again facing the esteemed ones. Slaughtering heaven esteemed one, Juk Guang, is staring at him with an astonished expression. Seo Yunhyan glances around briefly. Is this the blessing of the sword spear, heavenly lord? In that instant, he realizes what kind of divine powers he can manifest through his sword when he thrusts it. As long as this blessing is with him, he will be able to display all divine powers through his sword. Even the only two weaknesses of crystal glass to treading sea would no longer hold any meaning to him. The extreme of a sword cultivator. He knows now that if he moves his sword now, the path to the utmost limit as a sword cultivator will open. He could summon rain and wind with the sword, cause earthquakes and tsunamis, and bring down meteor showers to destroy civilizations. With a single sword, he could annihilate the universe, and with a single sword recreate it. It is possible to encapsulate all phenomena within the sword. Seo Yunhyan contemplates. Then, is this the extreme of the sword, or the extreme of spells in the form of a sword? When Seo Yunhyan extends his arm, divine radiance naturally condenses, forming a silver-white sword in his hand. The sword looks far nobler and more sacred than the silver-blue sword held by Juk Guang. Why? Juk Guang trembles with an expression that says he might collapse at any moment. I was the first. I was the first to serve that being. That is a blessing I have yet to receive. Why is it you? And in the next moment, Seo Yunhyan closes his eyes briefly and then opens them, as if finally making up his mind. He breaks the silver-white sword floating above his hand in one swift motion. What have you done? Juk Guang's eyes roll back halfway, and Seo Yunhyan, with a determined expression, disperses the light completely as he speaks. I have no need for power thrown to me by others. Everything has been built by his own efforts. Even though his martial arts were created by Kim Young-hoon, it was he who mastered it with his own two hands through blood, sweat, and toil. Even though someone had assisted him with cultivation methods, it was he who ultimately mastered it. Even if there had been help from predecessors, it was always he who ultimately mastered it on his own. I have understood the extreme of a sword cultivator well. Someday, I will reach it with my own power. Seo Yunhyan shouts as he looks at the shattered fragments of the sword before him. Thank you for showing me the path. I do not need the blessing. I will reach that place with my strength alone, and that is enough. Wowung! The shards of the silver-white sword tremble in place before scattering into the void. Seo Yunhyan feels as if a powerful heartbeat, full of exhilaration, echoes in his ears, but he no longer listens. What matters now are those standing before him. Come at me. With that, Juk Guang draws their sword and charges. I will kill you. Sap stream down from their eyes. From the front is slaughtering Heaven Esteemed One, Juk Guang. From behind, Final Heaven Esteemed One, Jin Waryong advances. Payet. A vast radiance descends behind Juk Guang. Seo Yunhyan feels as though 8 enormous giants are dwelling within that halo of light. Does the technique itself draws upon the radiance 8 immortals? Seo Yunhyan perceives his back. Final Heaven Esteemed One Jin Waryong forms a hand seal. Origin Star. Combat Technique Form. Kagagugu. Seo Yunhyan's eyes widen. For a moment, it seems as if Jin Waryong's origin star manifests before compressing and taking the form of Jin Waryong, like Seo Yunhyan. But what surprises Seo Yunhyan is not that. Winged garments, heaven and earth dual cultivation. Jin Waryong, like Seo Yunhyan, dons winged garments. The rings of star-shattering origin stars, when compressed into the combat technique form, transform into winged garments. In other words, Jin Waryong of the fighting ghost race is also a maniac who has exploded their completed origin star once more to achieve heaven and earth dual cultivation, just like Seo Yunhyan. Fighting step second stage. One of Jin Waryong's arms shifts, as if transforming into a tentacle before morphing into a bone-laden thorn bush that lunges at Seo Yunhyan. From the front is the charging Juk Guang, borrowing the power of the Radiance 8 Immortals. From behind is Jin Waryong, a mid-star shattering stage heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner, rushing forward. From below, Safe Heaven Esteemed One Guai Ro of the Rotting Owl race attempts to swallow Seo Yunhyan with their unique corrosion technique. From above, Trampling Heaven Esteemed One Ham Rak continuously absorbs heaven and earth spiritual energy, amplifying their own chi. And in the far distance, Opening Heaven Esteemed One Waljin seems to be gathering strength for a powerful strike. Indeed, the bright cold realm esteemed ones are formidable. Though surpassed in numbers compared to the esteemed ones of the blood yin realm, in terms of quality, Each one is powerful enough to overwhelm those from the blood yin realm. You are the best among them. Seo Yunhyan begins to exert his power. Crystal glass to treading sea. Sword sea star body. The colorless glass sword merges with his body. Wuduk wujujuduk. From various parts of Seo Yunhyan's body, colorless glass swords emerge. Full body sword draw. 3,000 colorless glass swords erupt forth, shooting forward like arrows. All heavens. Seo Yunhyan's hand appears to distort for a moment. Simultaneously, his hand fused with the colorless glass sword morphs in an eerie manner, becoming a gigantic slash that sweeps the surroundings. The glass true fire dances in the void. The flames of glass transform into sword slashes, cutting through everything in their path. A world of an instant. Juk Guang is sliced apart along with their sword. Safe Heaven esteemed One Guai Ro launches the corrosion technique at Seo Yunhyan, but it burns away in the glass true fire, forcing them to morph into an owl the size of a satellite and retreat. But by then, both their wings have already been severed by all heavens. The only ones who manage to respond to Seo Yunhyan are Jin Waryong, the heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner who has reached the second stage of fighting step, and trampling heaven esteemed One Ham Rack of the horned ox race. More, make me happier, more, huug. Seo Yunhyan grabs Jin Waryong's horn and scatters sword slashes across her entire body. Perhaps it's due to the fighting ghost race's innate nature to become aroused during battle. She faces Seo Yunhyan with a face filled with ecstasy. But that too is only an instant. Soon she is flung away, her entire body slashed apart after being unable to block more than a single slash from Seo Yunhyan. These insane, muscle-bound fighting ghost race bastards. Seo Yunhyan realizes that there are places where his sword slashes did not cut properly due to her massive muscles, and he clicks his tongue. That woman will recover soon enough. That leaves these two. Opening Heaven esteemed One, Jai Waljin. Trampling Heaven esteemed One, Ham Rack. They are cultivators from the yellow dragon race and horned ox race, respectively. Interestingly, both belong to the Earth tribe. Among them, Seo Yunhyan's eyes fixate on the esteemed one of the horned ox race, Ham Rack. A martial artist at tribulating heavens, I see. Ham Rack, whose upper body resembles an ox and lower body a human, lets out a snort and greets Seo Yunhyan respectfully. So that's what you call the third realm of non-toppling, Chinese letter. I shall learn a thing or two from a senior who has entered the second realm of non-standing, Chinese letter, like Senior Jang Ik. So you call 3 heavens beyond the path as 3 realms of non-toppling, and 3 flowers Wuji as 3 realms of non-standing, huh? Interesting. To not fall down and at the end to not rise up. Isn't it interesting? Since Senior practices land and will dual cultivation like me, and is even a heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner, you would know even better that when one becomes a star-shattering esteemed one ultimately loses manifestation. Seo Yunhyan, looking intrigued, asks him, then how do you maintain your manifestation? If not falling is non-toppling, and not rising is non-standing, I have chosen not to rise but also not to fall. Seo Yunhyan looks at him with eyes of pity. To not rise but also not fall. In other words, they are willing to remain forever in place, never progressing beyond that stage, in exchange for maintaining manifestation. It is not just about manifestation. They have also stopped cultivating the Earth tribe methods. The choice to completely forego advancement and stay eternally in place for the sake of sustaining the 2 realms. That is the path Ham Rack has chosen. Are you fine with that? You have the same eyes as Senior Jang Ik, but it's fine. This too will have its own path after all. Now enough with the idle chatter. Kagagagugu. 7 stars are felt within Ham Rack's body. Seo Yunhyan smirks. Attribulating heavens at the grand perfection star-shattering stage. Good. Pazazazazasa. He suppresses the glass true fire of the crystal glass to treading sea. Instead, he faces Ham Rack holding only the colorless glass sword. The 2 martial artists clash within the sea of stars. Manifestation. Non-toppling, non-standing, Chinese letter. Ham Rack's manifestation that absolutely does not change meets Seo Yunhyan's all-heaven sword that changes into everything. Flash. In the next moment, Ham Rack's body splits apart. At the same time, Seo Yunhyan's chest caves in, and his entire right waist and ribs are torn away. Neither being bleeds, as both have surpassed the limits of life. In the place that is split and broken, only starlight shimmers faintly. But in the next moment, Hamrack smiles. So that is the higher stage. Thank you, senior. With those words, they collapse unconscious. Guaya. Jin Walyong, having recovered, charges at Seo Yunhyan again. And Waljin, who has been gathering energy, finally rises. Dujijujido. Behind Waljin, the form of a giant dragon appears. As soon as Seo Yunhyan sees the dragon form, his mind wavers as if it's breaking, and he feels blood trickling from his 7 orifices. That's... Hyuha, play with me more. He slashes through the persistently clinging Jin Walyong again, and burns his sword into flames through the Avasai Hell Star body. Finally, Jin Walyong loses consciousness from the pain. Seo Yunhyan kicks Jin Walyong into space, focusing on the momentum building from Waljin. Lofty Dragon. The form of Lofty Dragon rises behind Waljin. Waljin is drawing forth the power of their immortal beast bloodline to the fullest, invoking the power of their ancestor. The direct bloodline of Lofty Dragon. That is Waljin. Guwu. The cosmic space quivers. The next moment, Seo Yunhyan is struck by the tail of Lofty Dragon's form and is hurled far away, all the way to a distant star away from the lightning sacred sea. Kug. Waljin closes the distance instantly, using the ground shrinking technique. Jejuok. The form of Lofty Dragon behind Waljin opens its mouth. Quaying. The illusion of Lofty Dragon, vast enough to join together dozens of planets, directly bites down on the planet Seo Yunhyan crashed into. The planet he slammed into shatters, and Seo Yunhyan, caught between Lofty Dragon's upper and lower teeth, holds on to resist being crushed. I tried to dodge but couldn't. This feeling, it's certain hit. His eyes glimmer. I'm starting to grasp the principle of certain strike. Is it bestowing the fortune of definitely being struck on the opponent? Gugagugaguguk. Caught between Lofty Dragon's teeth and enduring to avoid being crushed, he activates Avasai Hell Star body. Glass True Fire dies black and surges into the interior of Lofty Dragon's illusion. However, Seo Yunhyan clicks his tongue. There's no reaction. Because it's an illusion from the past, present pain doesn't affect it. Damn it. I thought the weaknesses of the crystal glass to treading sea were only 2, but it turns out there's a third. So far, he has identified 3 weaknesses of crystal glass to treading sea. The third, just now discovered, is the illusion of the past. The advantage of the Glass True Fire that transmits Seo Yunhyan's pain is nullified completely. The second is attacks that use the heart, like those from the Heart Tribe or complete immortal arts. In the plane of soul, the power of Seo Yunhyan's attacks are halved, and if it is a complete immortal art that uses only the heart without relying on attraction force, it can shatter the pain inflicted by the crystal glass to treading sea head-on and even critically injure Seo Yunhyan. The first is Salt. Salt, which symbolizes repentant enlightenment in the higher planes, can completely extinguish and destroy the pain of the Glass True Fire. Therefore, in the plane of Qi, salt itself has a property that disperses the formula of the crystal glass to treading sea, weakening the flames of the Glass True Fire. It's fortunate I took down the Sea Dragon, who was using that salt sea esoteric method, or whatever. Seo Yunhyan breathes a sigh of relief, and begins to subdue the crystal glass to treading sea within the mouth of Lofty Dragon trying to crush him. As crystal glass to treading sea subsides, Seo Yunhyan's heart begins to stir. Dujijujijudo. Immortal arts activate. The immortal art various omens trigger the forces of rain, sunlight, heat, cold, wind, and time, causing twilight to whirl around him. The attraction force distorts space-time, accelerating the flow of time around Lofty Dragon. Seo Yunhyan smirks while looking at Waljin. You can't sustain your ancestor's Dharma form indefinitely, can you? Waljin's opens their eyes wide. Human, just how deep is your understanding of immortal arts? They look at Seo Yunhyan in ridiculous disbelief, biting down on their teeth. Fine, then I'll end this in one blow, go. Lofty Dragon's Dharma form. A vast energy wave is felt from deep within its maw. Seo Yunhyan's expression changes for the first time. This is quite serious. Quang. Seo Yunhyan narrowly escapes from Lofty Dragon's mouth, cold sweat dripping as he grips the colorless glass sword. Kiyaving. He draws a circle. Simultaneously, Seo Yunhyan's mind once again soars into the immortal domain. I have to block this. This is dangerous. This is lofty dragon, who was once a great net immortal. Even though they descended into the entering nirvana stage, even though they are only manifested as an illusion through the power of their descendants' bloodline, their full-out single strike surpasses the casual single strike of Blood Yin, who swung as if to swat away a bug. The Sumeru sword dance, borrowing the power of the sun and moon heavenly domain, bursts forth from Seo Yunhyan's sword as lofty dragon's dragon wave engulfs him. The next moment, the universe briefly brightens. Chia. I stare at my trembling body. This isn't the 999th cycle. I thought I was going to die. At the same time, I reflect on myself for having tried to deal with the esteemed ones with such an arrogant mindset. Kehyok. I vomit lava from my mouth. Having become a star, my body no longer expels blood, but instead spews lava or heaven and earth spiritual energy. Kehyok. Just now, I truly thought the world was ending. The heaven and earth spiritual energy that filled my entire body and the glass true fire of crystal glass to treading sea are now reduced to mere specks. Fortunately, the production of heaven and earth spiritual energy from my origin star is slowly recovering my body, but it seems it will be a long time before I am fully restored. However, I smile faintly. The Dharma form of lofty dragon true person that had unleashed the dragon wave dissipates. Now all that remains is Waljin, utterly exhausted from summoning the Dharma form of lofty dragon. No, the other esteemed ones are also gradually recovering. This is an esteemed one. No matter how severe the injuries, they recover almost instantly through the self-production of heaven and earth spiritual energy. To counter this kind of monstrous regenerative ability, one must either kill them outright or use attacks through immortal arts. I look at Waljin and ask, "Are you still willing to try, Taoist Jiao?" Waljin returns to their human form with a darkened expression. "How could that be? It is our defeat." "Haha, why so? Right now my power is completely drained, and it looks like Taoist Jiao and your comrades have almost fully recovered. I've realized that your capability in immortal arts is so high to the point that it treats us as nothing in comparison. Even if your energy has waned, challenging you would only make us fools. Moreover, you are also a practitioner at the 5th stage of manifestation. Not just a grandmaster of immortal arts, but the 5th stage of manifestation. We do not have the confidence to defeat the distinguished one. Indeed, torturing the sacred master was not through trickery, but through your own power. It was a trick at that time, though. I decide to remain silent. If I say that I had just reached void shattering then, and that my heaven and earth cultivation was only at the integration stage, they wouldn't believe me. If I say I reached star shattering within that brief period of time, they might think I'm mocking them. Besides, it seems the distinguished one still has things hidden, right? At that, I simply give a meaningful smile. Indeed, I have yet to reveal the artificial stars of the Mad Lord and 3 forms of crystal glass to treading sea, which means I can still crush them at any time if I bring those out. I was going to educate them thoroughly, but if they're taking this submissive an attitude, there's no helping it. Then, how do fellow Taoists plan to deal with your business with this one? We will make compensation for the unfortunate incident earlier. Moreover, it seems your cultivation method doesn't have much to do with the Blood Yin realm, and judging by the expression of the trampling heaven esteemed one who is also of the Heart tribe, you don't seem to be that much of an evil breed either. As for your character, we'll observe a bit more." Hello? I stroke my chin and ask, "That doesn't seem to be everything, is there more?" This is why the Heart tribe. I can still read a bit of Taoist's intent, since your will has not fully materialized into attraction force yet. Waljin bursts into boisterous laughter and speaks. When one reaches the star-shattering stage within the origin star, the great nature begins to circulate. However, no matter how much the great nature circulates to produce heaven and earth spiritual energy, the size of the great nature must be immense, and there must be many great natures capable of interacting with each other. In other words, his next words make me flinch. In the early star-shattering stage, it is absolutely impossible to produce heaven and earth spiritual energy. Producing heaven and earth spiritual energy with only one star, it's nonsense. For all esteemed ones, the minimum is the mid-star shattering stage, and on average it's the late star shattering stage. In other words, when 5 to 6 origin stars are formed, can one produce heaven and earth spiritual energy. That's why this esteemed one thought the distinguished one was at the late or grand perfection star shattering stage at first. But for an early star shattering stage, a produced power equivalent to grand perfection with only one star, and that too with heaven and earth dual cultivation, this esteemed one has never encountered an existence like the distinguished one before. With your level, you will surely reach the rank of true immortal someday. If we aren't going to kill the distinguished one here and now, we would rather not offend a future great immortal Chinese letter. I feel my face flush and wave my hand. You flatter me too much, but thank you nonetheless. Haha, there's no need for modesty. Anyway, this esteemed one will go back to find my comrades and return to the lightning sacred sea. Who will have to start the conquest from the first floor of the lightning sacred sea again. They let out a deep sigh, and I chuckle heartily and speak. Don't worry, you'll likely be able to continue from the floor you conquered. Since the master of the 98th floor was killed, you can start from the 99th floor. What do you mean? I met a being called the Golden Shaking Bird. I relay the information about Golden Shaking Bird. Soon after having heard my explanation, Waljin adopts a contemplative expression. A being capable of overriding the authority of the Tower of Trials to that extent. I'll need to revisit some ancient texts I once found before. Do as you please. As for me, I still have an unfinished duel, so I'll be on my way. With the heaven collapsing esteemed one, do as you wish. This esteemed one needs to find the Taoists of the Nether Ghost Realm, so they gesture for me to go to do as I please, and I re-enter the depths of the lightning sacred sea. Inside the lightning sacred sea, within the spatial barrier where Jang Ik is sleeping, I knock on the spatial barrier and shout, "Master, please wake up." Thud, 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 thud. But there's no response from inside. "Master," I sigh and draw my sword. "I know you're pretending to sleep. Please wake up." Kukwagwagwing. The moment I raise my sword as such and strike down on the barrier, my head is severed. I feel puzzled as my neck is severed. It's not Jang Ik. It can't be Jang Ik. If it were Jang Ik, he wouldn't have delivered this kind of absurd strike against an esteemed one at the star-shattering stage. Jang Ik would know that those at our level won't die, even if their heads are cut off. With my head flying off, I quickly assume a stance. In the next moment, Quarvirung. Inside the spatial barrier, a golden lightning bolt emerges. A single thunder bee, Chinese letter, appears, grasps my severed head and flies off somewhere. I see, this isn't Jang Ik but the master of the 99th floor. My expression naturally darkens. Come to think of it, something felt strange. Although I had pierced through to the 99th floor, the masters of the 96th, 97th, and 98th floors had shown themselves, but not even the nose of the 99th floor master was nowhere to be seen. Then what about Jang Ik? I search for Jang Ik, and I find him immediately. Kugwagwagwang. The 99th floor. Jang Ik is there, swinging his pato against thousands of thunder bees, preventing them from descending below the 99th floor. Buwung. As the thunder bee that holds my face passes by him, our gazes meet briefly. Clicking his tongue as if in disbelief, he mutters. We fell for it splendidly, all of us. Soon later, at the center of the 99th floor, filled with thunder bees. What stands before me is an enormous hive the size of a continent, attached to a tree as massive as several planets combined. The thunder bee carries me inside the hive, to its most secret chamber. I was wondering why it only brought my head. It must have been some kind of sorcerous act. I click my tongue internally. To star-shattering esteemed one, a head is not a significant part. Considering the main body is a star, what meaning does a head hold? Even if their head is cut off, an esteemed one can continue to remain there and act as if nothing happened. However, this bee cleanly severed my head and simultaneously pulled my soul and spirit along with it. It must have established some kind of sorcery through the act of decapitation to extract my soul and spirit to this place. Wu Weng. Then I finally see the true nature of the bee that brought my head here. Crackling. With sparks of thunder crackling, the bee soon takes on a human form. Long hair, pale white feet, mature-looking woman clad in a robe of thunder and lightning. It's a woman befitting the description, adult form of the golden shaking bird. As she transforms into a human form, I feel her presence descend heavily over the entire 99th floor. Considering that each floor is akin to a separate dimension, it means that she has filled this entire dimension with her presence. From that alone, I can immediately infer this woman's level. Entering nirvana, a true person. The being before me is a quasi-immortal, just a step below a true immortal. First of all, why did you bring only my severed head here? While testing whether I can communicate with my body, I subtly channel the power of void shattering and immortal arts while trying to avoid detection. I saw the distinguished one fighting the projection of lofty dragon. Hence, I figured that if I brought your entire body, I wouldn't be able to handle it. That's why I only brought your soul and spirit along with your head connected to it. The distinguished one's realm is quasi-immortal, correct? In terms of the immortal cultivation realm of a cultivator, that would be correct. What is the reason for bringing me here? It is to escort you to the 100th floor. What is your relationship with Golden Shaking Bird? Since she answers all my questions willingly, I continue to inquire. Then, when she hears the question regarding Golden Shaking Bird, she smiles with an oddly chilling expression. My roots Chinese letter. In the terms of your people, the word mother would be most fitting. I glare at her and speak. The reason you are taking me to the 100th floor, is it related to your mother? You could say so. Just then, Jade, an enormous roar erupts from the distance. It sounds as if a dragon's cry bursts forth from a distant place, and suddenly I find myself in the space where Jang Ik, Jiu Waljin, and I are gathered. This place, Jang Ik sighs and speaks. This is a space that I and that Jiu fellow created by combining our powers. Using my heart essence, your heart essence, and Jiu's immortal beast bloodline, we temporarily created an inviolable consciousness space. The Pado that Jang Ik had sent into my heart essence in the past. It seems that he used the trace of that Pado to instantly link our heart essences, and with the power of Lofty Dragon, Waljin created this temporary space. Each step of it is astonishingly intricate, and I can't help but be impressed. Incredible. Anyway, I am currently in a situation where I've been kidnapped by the quasi-immortal level Thunder Beast that seems to be the master of the 99th floor. I know, and the reason I called you here is because that Jai Waljin fellow said he has something to say to you. We quickly exchange words. In any case, we had cleared up to the 98th floor, but with a quasi-immortal appearing as the master of the 99th floor and me, the strongest among us, being kidnapped by that quasi-immortal, time is of the essence. Waljin promptly speaks. While briefly flipping through some ancient texts, I found a record about the golden shaking bird that the distinguished one mentioned in the Tower of Trials. It was said right there that the golden shaking bird is the master of the Tower of Trials located within the lightning sacred sea, the master of the 100th floor, and the final gatekeeper. As I thought, Waljin speaks with a darkened expression. Distinguished one said that this golden shaking bird once helped you, correct? However, according to the ancient text, among the subordinates of the golden divine of lightning, the thunder beast golden shaking bird is particularly cruel, violent, and cunning, skilled at deceiving people. I believe it may have deceived the distinguished one. For now, I am doing my best to prevent the thunder bees of the 99th floor from descending below the 98th floor. The problem is, the hole between the 99th and 98th floors is about to close. If that happens, your soul and spirit might be trapped by that quasi-immortal for 1,000, 10,000 years. We decided to rescue you before that happens. Is there a way? Jang Ik nods and draws his Pado. I'm going to embed my Pado in you. Then in the plane of soul, I'll pull my Pado and you down to the 98th floor. All the esteemed ones, including Waljin, will use their strength to pull your soul, so respond well. It'll feel like your soul is being torn apart, but bear with it. Understood, then I will also embed my own. I understand. I embed my sub-heart sword into Jang Ik's heart essence to make it easier for him to pull me. Jang Ik embeds collapsing immortals, annihilating heavens into my heart essence. We quickly connect, and we each grasp the link that forms between Jang Ik and me. Alright then, I'll start pulling. Just as Jang Ik, Waljin, and the other esteemed ones on the lower floor are about to pull me. Ching! Time seems to have stopped. And within this frozen time, I am the only one conscious. What is this? Step, step, step. In this space, created from the heart essences of Jang Ik and me, an outsider steps in all too naturally. She has soft, pure white feet. She wears a robe made of lightning and appears as a young girl with platinum hair. It's the immortal beast of Yang Sujin, golden shaking bird. She smiles faintly as she looks at me before speaking. I have come to rescue you. Please follow me. What are you doing? For now, please come with me. This is a dimension where the descendant of Lofty Dragon used Lofty Dragon's power to establish laws, so it was difficult to enter forcibly. It's not easy to endure either. No, I will not leave. Yes, please do not worry. You will not have to move a single finger. Snap. As she snaps her fingers, my consciousness suddenly shifts to the 99th floor. I am back in front of the Thunder Bee Queen, who is known as the child of Golden Shaking Bird. The Thunder Bee Queen, upon seeing Golden Shaking Bird suddenly appear, bows toward her from her seat. I offer a bow to the master. Enough with the greetings, and there is no need to call me master, for there will be a new master to take that place. Grabbing my hair, she lifts it and starts walking somewhere. As she proceeds, the Thunder Bee Queen extends her arm, opening a dimensional gate. Step, step. The Golden Shaking Bird opens the dimensional gate with me, and beyond the 99th floor. I arrive in one motion to the 100th floor of the Tower of Trials, within the lightning sacred sea. Wowung. The 100th floor of the Tower of Trials feels like a rooftop. Above the tower's rooftop that resembles a barren plain, there looms a massive apparatus, similar to a celestial sphere. As I look at the structure of that celestial sphere, I flinch in surprise. Yongseung. Seen at the end of the 19th cycle, the structure looks quite similar to the South Polar ritual treasure, Yongseung. However, unlike Yongseung, it does not have the mysterious and divine inscriptions engraved on it, nor does it exude such an overwhelming aura. The celestial sphere of the top floor of the Tower of Trials only moves slowly, occasionally emitting a faint glow that resembles constellations, appearing to be nothing more than a massive mechanical device. What do you think? This is the Myriad Realms emergency exit my master threatened the heavenly craftsman to make. Created to escape from the owner of heavenly punishment, this is the immortal treasure Great Desolate Path, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Though without a substitute for its personality, it's just a giant lump of scrap metal. In the past, it used to be a path that can go anywhere, but now it's just a prison that can go nowhere. What is the reason you brought me here? It is to gift the distinguished one this marvelous immortal treasure, Great Desolate Path, along with the authority to control the entire Tower of Trials. Do you like it? If that was the case, you could have just explained it back in the garden. What is the reason for going through all this trouble to bring me here? Hoo-hoo, you're so pure, the complete opposite of my former master. Golden Shaking Bird chuckles and places my head down on the ground. First, let me reintroduce myself. Greetings, I am Golden Shaking Bird. I am the attendant concubine and pet of Golden Divine Yang Sujin, as well as the combat weapon, fully matured Thunder Beast. At the same time, I am the collective of all the vengeful spirits of the Thunder Bird Golden Shaking sect, which followed Yang Sujin faithfully only to be annihilated by his hand. I'm the administrator who manages the Tower of Trials, after being bound to the Tower of Trials' 100th floor after the death of Yang Sujin, and also a pitiful existence whose body is being torn apart piece by the very tower itself. She kneels in front of me and gently strokes my head. Master was truly cruel, wasn't he? He grinded the sect that followed him without a hint of hesitation and turned them into a monster. After using that as a combat weapon to his heart's content, he left with just the single sentence, "I'm going back home." When I clung to him, begging to follow, he tied me to his ring finger and discarded me into the sun and moon heavenly domain. Then he ensured that through the Tower of Trials, my entire body would be ground down over endless eons until it finally disintegrated. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. She bursts into mad laughter. The reason the Tower of Trials is called the Tower of Trials is not because of anything else. It's merely because whenever the owner of heavenly punishment pursued my master, he used it while undergoing trials akin to death. It isn't because of the monsters that extend from the 1st to the 100th floor. Wooduk. She tightens her grip on my head. Lightning courses through my head, causing it to throb with pain. The children that rule the floors from the 1st to the 99th are the flesh of my body that were torn away after my body was ground down by the Tower of Trials. The largest chunk became the thunder bee on the lower floor, and from the thunder bee, the flesh of lower realms continues to fall off. The flesh continues to decompose floor by floor until eventually they are expelled beyond the lightning sacred sea. My master, after going through all the trouble of creating me, decided to confine me in this tower for countless eons and decompose me. So I made a decision. One day, if someone who would complete my master's legacy were to reach the lightning sacred sea, I would give them my position and escape from this place. I would flee in, find the home my master returned to, turn all of his precious people into thunder beasts, establish a hierarchy with those beasts, and become my master's true wife. That is the resolve I made. Wujujuduk. Her fingers dig into my head. After suffering that much, wouldn't I deserve at least that much? If you are the one who is continuing my master's legacy, then I am, in a way, a senior sister to you. For this senior sister, would you kindly remain imprisoned inside this tower for all eternity? You won't have to wait too long. One day, I will persuade my master to come here and dismantle this dreadful disassembly facility to rescue you. With eyes that have completely lost their sanity, she whispers to me. Through her hands, I gradually feel an immortal art-level restraint binding my soul. The chains of attraction force binding golden shaking bird entangle me. Then you could have just captured me and suspended me here when we first met. Why did you make me go through the Tower of Trials? It is because only by using that method could I establish the technique that would impose my restraints on the distinguished one. Is that so? Then what is the reason for bringing only my head here? Because it's annoying if you resist. Don't worry, it won't hurt. Only a slight impact will be focused on your head. Once I leave, I'll toss your main body inside the tower, so pick it up at your leisure. Then why are you stabbing my shoulder with a blade like this? I growl at her while glaring, feeling the sensation of being stabbed in the shoulder. You are saying strange things. Your entire existence is currently separated between your head and the rest below. You shouldn't be able to feel any pain in your shoulder. Damn it, don't spout nonsense. If it's not you stabbing my shoulder right now, then who is it? I shout nonsense, trying to disrupt her focus so I can deliver a strike through void shattering. My shoulder hurts, don't touch my shoulder, I'll kill you. But while shouting nonsense, a strange sensation comes over me. It really does hurt. As she said, my head and the rest of my body are separated by something like an immortal art. Thanks to that, my soul and spirit is tethered to my head, leaving my main body devoid of sensation. So then, why in the world does my shoulder hurt? Well, since the pain is real, it might help distract golden shaking bird's focus a bit. Don't touch my shoulder, my shoulder. Since before, what nonsense are you? Ah. Suddenly, golden shaking bird looks somewhere below, and her face quickly changes to one of shock. Now, the mental distraction through my shoulder worked. What remains is severing mountain swordsmanship. 33rd move. Sumeru. 95th floor of the lightning sacred sea. The place where Seo Yunhyan was ambushed by the master of the 99th floor, who was disguised as Jang Ik, and lost his head. There Seo Yunhyan's floating body, the esteemed ones who have regained their strength, and Jang Ik, who was holding back the thunder bees on the 99th floor, have gathered in full. A total of 25 esteemed ones. Just why have the Taoists of the Nether Ghost Realm disappeared? That, my apologies, I cannot say. Well, never mind. Can heaven collapsing esteemed one not break through the 99th floor? The hole in the 99th floor has closed. The owner of the 99th floor is determined and has firmly sealed the barrier of the 99th floor. Even if all of us combine our strength, it will only create a small gap. Waljin sighs. Many sacrifices have been made in the conquest of the lightning sacred sea, but to lose someone at the level of possessing immortal talent, Chinese letter, so futilely, it is a loss for the bright cold realm. The other esteemed ones also looked grim. To avoid the coming end, we definitely need his existence. Can just us esteemed ones break through the master of the 99th floor, who is thought to be at the entering nirvana level? We must seek the aid of the sacred masters. But how? For the sacred masters to descend here, a medium is required, and it must be an incredibly powerful medium connected to the essence of the sacred masters. Otherwise, we would have to create an altar for their descent over the next 5,000 years, and even then, the probability of the altar activating correctly is only 4 in 10. Just then, flash, from the left shoulder of Seo Yunhyan's decapitated body, an overwhelming sword light bursts forth. Simultaneously, an immense presence begins to descend upon the lightning sacred sea. Kagagugu. This is. Slaughtering heaven esteemed one Juk Guang, sensing the aura, immediately bows as a flower blooms from their head, scattering pollen. All the esteemed ones of the bright cold realm simultaneously kneel in reverence. Jiuag. From Seo Yunhaian's left shoulder, a hand, thin like an old, withered tree branch, emerges. The hand, surrounded by a bright white light, tilts his body back from his shoulder and descends his main body into the lightning sacred sea. Wowung. The entire lightning sacred sea shakes violently, as if trying to repel the foreign intrusion from outside, but the presence descends firmly in place without concern. A being wrapped by radiant white light, resembling a dried ancient tree. That being is the administrator of the bright cold realm. It is Sacred Master Beek Woon. We pay our respects to the Sacred Master. 24 esteemed ones shout in unison as they bow. Beek Woon nods and then looks up towards the distant upper floor. She stares beyond the 99th floor. He is not someone I like, but since he serves as a medium for my descent as a fellow sacred person, he is somewhat useful. She glances at slaughtering, heaven-esteemed one Juk Guang and clicks her tongue. You fool, stop your stupid behavior and assist me. How shallow must your faith be to great one that you can't even fulfill the role of a medium that even the human race bastard could manage. Juk Guang's face flushes a deep red at her words, but he quickly regains his composure. After scolding Juk Guang, Beek Woon flies in one leap to the boundary between the 98th and 99th floors. In the next moment, Tree Halberd. The space around her ripples with white clouds, taking the form of a colossal wooden spear. Jejuang. Beek Woon swings the wooden spear. With her single strike, the entrance to the 99th floor shatters, creating a dimensional passageway. Buwung. Hundreds of millions of thunder bees rush at Beek Woon all at once. But Beek Woon opens her mouth. Jejuang. A colossal lion's roar shakes the entire dimension, and the hundreds of millions of thunder bees explode and perish on the spot. Pijajek. Before her stands the one who ambushed and kidnapped Seo Yunhaian. The Thunder Bee Queen appears. She looks at Beek Woon and sneers. Well, who do we have here? Isn't this Beek Woon who became a waste? This brings back past memories. The Beek Woon who once begged for her life in front of the golden divine dares to come before me, who wields his authority. Just thinking of that time. Just then, immediately. Clench. Beek Woon's hand grabs the head of the Thunder Bee Queen. Bajujujuduk. The Thunder Bee Queen's head bursts under Beek Woon's grasp. Weaving. The scent of peach blossoms begins to spread around Beek Woon. The sacred master of the bright cold realm, Beek Woon, is drawing upon the power of the bright cold realm from the far ends of the universe. You foolish thing, the one I feared was the golden divine. Do you think I would fear a worthless thing like you who can't even be considered his dregs? Do you see me, who once stood before true immortality as being on the same level as you, a half-baked entering nirvana? Yuan-oob. The Thunder Bee Queen struggles to escape, but she cannot break free from Beek Woon's grasp. Immortal art. The eyes of the Thunder Bee Queen fill with terror, and Beek Woon smirks as she begins to crush her completely. You spoke so well just moments ago. Go ahead. Beg for me to spare your life. Lick my feet like a dog. Beg while promising to offer everything you have just to spare you. If you do that, I'll leave at least your life.